You want a piece of me, boy?
Nuclear launch detected.
Hello everyone, Funke here. I'll be walking you through the process of buying our special StarCraft 2 Nation Wars 5 items. The 5th edition of the National Team-based tournament will offer special in-game items and an exclusive t-shirt. Thanks to our partners, Matcherino and Blizzard, you'll be able to show your support for your country and the tournaments inside and outside of game. Here is how you do it. First, connect to matcherino.com/NW5. You will be warped into this page. Click on Sign in the top right and choose your preferred account to link to Matcherino. It can be your Battle.net, Facebook, Google, Twitch, or even Twitter accounts. Now, scroll down the page and select the package you want. In terms of in-game items, you can buy any of the 32 national portraits to represent the country you love, support, or wish you were born in. I see you South Korean portrait buyers. These portraits are at $2.47 and 30% of this will go to increase the prize pool of Nation Wars 5. You can get as many portraits as you want, but if you are a true hardcore fan of Nation Wars, we got you covered. The complete bundle for StarCraft 2 Nation Wars 5 will cost you $18.59 and will offer the entirety of the 32 national portraits as well as the 4 emoticons and 3 sprays created for the tournament. All of those are designed by the talented Nicolas Chaussois. Once again, 30% of the price will go to the prize pool. Last but not least, if you want to represent StarCraft 2 Nation Wars 5 in real life, like a boss, you can get your exclusive t-shirt designed by Nicolas Chaussois for $23.57. Once you selected the item you want, click on it. Select your region in the top right, the quantity you wish to acquire, add a contact email, type in the amount of money you need to pay for your items, and click on deposit. From there, you'll be able to use your PayPal account to add the required funds to your Matcherino profile. Once it's done, go back to the Matcherino page, check the tiny box to agree with the terms of service, and click on purchase. You made it! As the stretch goal will get closer, some surprises will be unlocked for you guys. Visit the main page of Nation Wars on Matcherino to check this out. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to visit the description section of the page. You'll find plenty of useful information about all the process of buying Nation Wars 5 items. Enjoy the StarCraft 2 Nation Wars 5!
Hola amigos, buenas tardes. 여러분 안녕하세요. 오래 기다리셨죠? It's time to play the winners match
Whoa.
of this group.
Whoa!
That was gibberish. Excited?
That
was
Whoa.
actually even a language. It was gibberish.
You, I really actually do believe that she was saying proper words.
No.
She was just not,
Nah.
You don't believe?
I think she cheats at life.
Oh,
Born in
okay.
Korea,
Okay.
lives in Paris, learns English.
Yeah,
Cheater.
It's cheater. And you can also speak Spanish, which is crazy.
Yeah,
At least a little bit.
Yeah.
Like buenas tardes.
Yeah, I can.
Vamos a la playa.
Vamos.
You can sing as well. Oh my
Yeah.
God, what's going
No, like
on?
I can have basic conversation. It's fine. But
Okay.
it's really similar with French, so it's fine.
You add A's at the end of the words, and suddenly it's
Exactly.
Spanish.
So here we go. Korea against Mexico. Winners match. Wow.
Wow.
Wowzers.
Wow. Wowzy.
Wow.
Wow. No, I mean, expected matchup, great best of 7 that could happen right there. Major in a really good shape, at least he was in the first game. Now he's got like better opponents, but we also saw that the question mark of Team Korea MMA was just simply good enough to all kill United Kingdom with Ben the Muslim Baker.
Okay. MMA,
How good is that?
He was a question mark, and if he had lost against the UK, against anyone, it would have been like, oh, yeah, see, MMA's not that great, even though UK is fantastic group of players.
Probably
But
the best nation in Nation Wars 5.
Probably.
Yeah.
Anyways, but you know, I really feel like that was a test for MMA in regards to just like everyone's expectations for him at a tournament. against special is really the next test. And I do think it is special that is the priority here. I believe Cham can take a map. I believe Jim Rising can surprise us. But I actually kind of equate them on the level of UK, which I think MMA will feel fine against. It's special that I'm sure MMA is actually also worried about. They probably face each other on ladder often enough.
Yeah, and let's take a look at the Mexican lineup once again. We mentioned it, special Jim Rising and Cham, special with some pretty interesting stats in Nation War so far. So it hasn't been updated since the last game, but just before that he was 17-7. He's got already 2 all kills to his name. Not as good on the side of Jim Rising, but 3-6, nothing to be ashamed of. And Cham, only 2 selections, that's the second one, but he was really good for Mexico last year, 5-3. So, I'd say I'd rate, like for instance, I'd rate Cham a little bit higher than any of the UK players. So I really do think it's special that has to carry, Cham that needs to pull a little bit of weight, and then maybe Jim Rising is able, as he said, he mentioned it in the post-game interview, that he felt that he could take on MMA in the ZVT matchup.
That's what he said. But it's good confidence, to believe in yourself. But I'm not quite on board.
You're not on board?
I think MMA looked perfectly fantastic against Zerg, and I guess no one really threw it all in at him.
Yeah.
Which is the only question we have. But I have got to cast. I've had the pleasure of casting MMA even before this, and he's been all in, and he's dealt with it fine. He's also been taken to the super late game, which I'm really hoping happens in this matchup here. I want nukes and ghosts and ravens. He's got to have at least one of those before we get started.
Okay, so here we're looking at the Korean lineup with MMA as their captain, Sue, and Innovation.
Yeah, well, there's not that much to be said about the lineup. I think it looks really good. I mean, you could argue that a Protoss player would be kind of nice in this lineup, but we all love MMA, especially in France. If he does qualify to the top 4, you'll see how the French crowd will react to this guy. We always loved him. Here is on the picture, like fighting, We like MMA quite a bit. That's the first time he's selected in Nation Wars. But then on top of that, you've got Sue, Innovation. I really do believe that we're looking at probably top 3 of their respective race, like both of them, between Innovation and Sue. The top 3 Terran in Innovation, top 3 Zerg in Sue.
You think MMA's top 3?
No, Innovation and Sue.
Oh, okay, Innovation and Sue specifically.
Yeah, sorry.
Then I agree, absolutely agree.
Yeah. I'm not that crazy. I love the guy.
I was like, MMA above TUI.
What
Maru,
a fanboy, No, definitely not.
Okay, no, but I do agree with that statement. And MMA has shown that he's just perfectly capable of killing anyone here. So, love Sue's interview. We haven't really gotten to see or hear from Innovation, but I assume he's his usual Innovation self. Low-key, maybe a little salty about Protoss and Zerg, but on the surface, totally fine and calm.
CC first, not die to any all-in. Go into a 15-minute game, massive macro, GG.
Yeah, but
Innovation,
Yeah, but then we see the Innovation that kind of like his mask kind of cracks, and we see him, say that he loses against Zerg despite his win rate. We see him, nuke his own army because he gets frustrated against Protoss. He has his cracks.
Yeah. So that said, let's take a look at our predictions.
Yeah. I'm the one that believes the most in Mexico.
Yeah.
But we still all believe Korea is going to make it through.
Well, yeah. I mean, that would be quite crazy. I think Roddy stopped throwing some weird predictions now because he realized that he lost the round of 32 showdown in terms of prediction. Now he realizes that he will lose round of 16 as well if he keeps on throwing some weird-ass predictions like this. So he goes back to something more normal, I would say. Aji, not even a 4-0. Can't believe.
Well, even MMA has showed his skills in this first series against UK. I mean, it's Cham, it's special, and they're really good players. So I think they can at least take a game to South Korea.
Okay. So you expect MMA to lose at some point, and then Innovation,
Sue Innovation
finishes.
will come. But I'm quite worried because it's really late. They were telling me they were tired, and it's soon 4 a.m. in Korea. But special is in Korea too, so
yeah, I thought about that as well when I was thinking of my predictions, and I was like, wait a second, they're all in the same time zone.
Ooh, 50-50, that's crazy.
Just changed to exactly 50-50. Oh no, wait a minute, Mexico's winning
Mexico's winning now.
Okay.
Dang,
okay.
Well, I think it's partially just like Mexican fans. I think they have a very strong community, and then I also think that a lot of people do have confidence in special. So
no, I think that's the first actual test for South Korea, and even though most of us predicted had South Korea to go through and qualify for the round of 8 as first place. I do agree with you. I think Mexico has the potential, and I like that the chat thinks that as well and shows it in the votes. 50-50, maybe 55-45, you know, like in favor of South Korea. But we'll see.
And now we know the starting players for both of teams is gonna be Cham against MMA for this first game.
All right.
It's ready to start. Are you ready?
Heck
Super
yeah,
ready.
I am.
Here we go. I'm
ready.
Blackpink.
Let's do it. I think this is an excellent
know it.
warm-up game, and I mean that in like not a. I know that sounds kind of like, you know, a warm-up game. Like, isn't that bad? No, I mean in the best way possible. Like, this is a nice warm-up. We have kind of like our great Zerg player from Mexico, but not as great as their Terran player special, versus our great Terran player from South Korea, but not as great as Innovation. And we have maybe 6 more games to watch this all unfold. So I am so excited. Let's do this.
Zombie. You do this.
All right, thank you.
You introduce that man.
I will. In the bottom left, as the red Terran for Korea, he is MMA.
In the top right, his opponent, representing Mexico, in the blue trunks, he is Cham.
All right. Awesome stuff here. I'm really enjoying Nation Wars, but then you get sometimes these really great storylines clashing, and maybe I'm like overhyping a little bit, but in my eyes, this really is quite the story between the players that are offered here from both teams. But Cham, talk him up a little bit because he is the least known of the two here for sure.
Oh yeah.
I'd even consider, like, you know, someone might know MMA and Jim Rising, but then Cham comes in like in a later year, and they have, you know, just come back. They're like, really, who is Cham? And even those who aren't in that particular boat, have watched a little bit of StarCraft here and there, still maybe don't see Cham a lot. You know, he's kind of in the round of 8, but he made so many round of 8s, he actually almost got to BlizzCon, and then people would know him. So it's like, really, where does he stand? Well, you know, sometimes he gets a couple all-ins that look really good. Sometimes he has amazing macro games. He's not totally dependable to take out the Koreans on a consistent basis. A lot of times he doesn't get the opportunity to.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, I agree.
But I think this is an awesome opportunity to test that out, see if he can work against MMA, one of the quote-unquote lesser Koreans that we have on the team.
So one thing I think we should tell our audience is Cham likes his roaches.
Yes.
He likes la cucaracha. That's the one unit that you will see him use throughout most of his TVZs. He used to use it a lot before, when Roach Ravager was quite the meta in TVZ, and he used to do it quite a bit and will go all out on those, right? Like max out on Roach Ravager and try to take out the Terrans as fast as possible.
Yeah.
So my take on this is, if MMA wants to go for something as greedy as he did in TVZ earlier against Risky, it was on the same map, I think Cham is definitely the kind of player that will notice it and destroy him for it.
Yeah. I mean, when I said that he's done some all-ins to win some games, I was specifically thinking about the Roaches, and then I forgot to just elaborate a little bit more, so thank you, Funka. But I absolutely agree. I think that he actually has shown in the past some very strong Roach timings against building mech players. That time where they're still building their factories, getting to their 4th and 5th, is still a weak time when you literally just try and max out on Roaches. So I'm honestly even kind of expecting that here on Blackpink, which is a strong-ish mech map. Again, there's not really many that say don't ever go mech, but some people prefer it one over the other. And I think Blackpink,
some maps are actually don't play bio, but don't play mech. That doesn't happen that much to me.
Yeah, it's kind of like a reverse of what it was years ago. So
yeah, interestingly enough,
I can see that game unfolding legitimately. Like, and we're gonna watch it here, but of course, first and foremost, we have our typical openers.
So no CC first on the side of MMA, went for 1 Rax expand into Hellions and Banshee with the cloak. Did we see a Viking come out? I think it's Banshee straight up, right?
Yeah.
Yes, it's Banshee straight up from MMA, who will try to deal some damage as he did earlier against Risky with some Hellion run-bys. On the side of Cham, we're looking at the 3 base Zerg with early lair and the Cucaracha Warren.
You know, we were talking about, me and Roddy, about how the Nidus run from Jim Rising in the last series seemed a little bit late. It was like a 4-minute, 4 or 5 layer, which actually can be just perfectly macro. It gives you an Overseer. It's quite nice. But I said, well, you know, those 350, 340 layers, that's when I really start worrying about a Nidus run, and that was like 345. So definitely thinking about it. We actually have MMA going for bio, by the way.
Interesting. Okay, I like it. Steam on the side of MMA, as Cham is basically doing whatever he wants for now, not being scouted that much. MMA doesn't know anything about the Roach Warren, doesn't know anything about the lair timing. So for now, well, Cham is just doing his thing on the side, on his side of the map, which is kind of good for him, as MMA is taking a slower third that earlier in the match, in the previous match that he played against the Zerg player on this map. Now double eBay comes in after the third CC. Nothing being scouted on the side of Cham, who probably expects mech, right?
Yeah.
That's what MMA showed most of the time. Is there really no detection here? I can't believe.
Uh-oh.
I can't believe you scouted the starport with the tech lab.
This seems to happen just way too often against
I don't
Zerg
understand.
players. He did have that lair timing, though, right? So he does have an overseer. Unfortunately, just predicted the Banshees to go to the third, which is, I would say, the more common location. That was kind of MMA being a bit cheeky, clever, whatever you want to call it, going to the natural first. Now he's heading over to the third, though, and there's still no dependable detection, shall we call it? The stack defense of a spore crawler, which is a little concerning.
See? It happens again. Second Banshee comes in, and that's already 6-7 drones now that are going down as MMA tries to run by to the natural. Will get defended quite handily with some Zerglings here on the side of Cham, but still so much more damage, like direct damage, 8 drones, but also a lot of indirect damage with all the drones being pulled from the third base. Banshee comes in, and that's the moment actually you don't want to sacrifice it, but you will accept to take on some damage to get some extra drones, and that's already 11 that he lost.
I definitely think it's worth slapping down a Spore Crawler, at least out of 2 out of 3 bases, because also one in the main and the third, especially on this map, can help out against Liberator harassment later on. So it's like very useful just to grab, even like without even scouting. And unfortunately, Cham just kind of played a little risky and lost too many drones, I would say. Not an absurd amount, but too many. I wanted to mention, before all that harassment went down, that Cham, I really was thinking that Nidus Storm was going to come, because he didn't have any evolution chambers. He was building a few number of roaches, but then he just kept building drones. Now his evolution chambers are only just now finishing. 4th base only halfway done. It doesn't feel like a particularly strong macro game. And this is going to be maybe tough. It does fly over creep. How fast can he respond here with that roach speed?
Well, let's see. He can decide to still go for the 4th base or the main base. He will decide for the main base for the moment. Maybe going to take an overlord and see that the units have been pulled and brought back to the main base. Now take some Zerglings for free. Maybe an overseer. I would click on that. Yes. And now you can actually click on those roaches individually. Gets 2, maybe a third one. Now the third one will survive. But that's a good beginning of the harassment phase of the game for MMA with that double drop that already got a couple of drones. We'll probably push back the creep. That's it with the scan. Even the Ravager seems juicy from here. +1/+1 finished on the side of Terran. He's got the shields for the Marines as well. Well, everything looks pretty good for MMA. He just needs to start the 2-2 upgrades.
That's true. His 1 just finished.
Yeah.
He also, because he's doing all this harassment, he went straight for the drone line. He went straight for the main base with this. He does, I'm a bit awkward. He does not have a lot of control over the creep spread. So Cham still has his creep tumors flying around here and is already covering a lot of very important bases. So, that's the only worry.
We'll go back right away in this game as the good old Shami fixed whatever issue he was facing, and now we're live. We can go back to this game. Explain it to you. We're once again in the winners match of this group, Korea. So either of those teams that will take on the win will qualify to the round of 8 as first place finisher, which would allow them to play Norway, for instance, who was the second place finisher in the first group, Italy taking first place.
Yep.
So it's a pretty interesting one, this one, to know. Nice targeting. Now you need to boost the Medivac.
Yeah, he is showing what we loved him for, actually, before he went off into the military. He has been playing a little more in the mech style. If he's not playing mech, he's still playing kind of a late-game TVZ, so I'm really glad to see him dropping everywhere and trying his best to micro down those banelings, but still not doing too much of the creep spread. In fact, Cham should already have a queen out here to respread it. Cham also, by the way, despite going for roaches and then roach speed, did just transfer over into Ling Baneling Hydra, really. Now on Infestation Pit as well, but he'll certainly need to deal with this tank push before Vipers, that's for certain. And he's really got to set up a nice surround of some sort here to help him out.
I think this push from MMA has pretty decent potential to deal some damage. We've got a 5th base already. Tanks sieging up. Nice targeting. Every single baneling just blew up here. And MMA does what MMA does best with a really great single medivac drop on the natural. But right here, a lot of idle is coming from the right side and taking a lot of those Marines down. The tanks will get cleaned up eventually, but the drop is still dealing a little bit of damage. The Zerglings were good enough. Not that much economy fell down there in there.
Yeah, I thought the drones were going to go down, but the Lings, when they did die, they bought the exact amount of time needed. Heading over to the 3rd, getting a couple of drones, but Cham not just destroyed that push. Destroyed's a bit of a strong word. He took out the push. He also saved his 5th base. I actually thought that might have been targeted down before he felt confident, but he actually had the ability to surround a little bit with the Hydras that had come all the way from the 3rd over to this 5th. Now he's on his way to a Hive, which MMA is going to scout, and he's got to really figure out, does he want to continue? Does he want to force the 2-2 push? Or does he want to take it to a longer game?
I still think he needs to stop losing units, but I do still think that there is an opportunity for this 2-2 push with double factory to deal some damage, but right there, he just lost maybe 8 more Marines. Can we take a look at the tank count real quick as this Liberator is sieging up? 5 is pretty decent, I think. Well, the creep is an issue, a massive issue actually, because it's pretty well spread out. But I still think there's a tiny opportunity. Maybe you go on the right side with the Zelnaga instead of going back to the 5th base. But we'll see what MMA decides, sorry, as he's getting the +3 upgrade. Still no Ghost Academy.
He kind of, if this really was going to be perfect, he might have been able to hit before 1-2 finished, but it's not super perfect. So at least Cham's going to have those upgrades. He does take care of all the harassment and can focus entirely on this push, which is not really, it doesn't really actually look that big. I mean, it's got a decent tank count, it's got a decent number of units, but another surround, and Cham probably takes a pretty convincing lead even as he goes up to a Hive.
Okay, let's see what happens with the Zerglings and Banelings from the right side. The splits from MMA are pretty decent, but tanks are super far away from each other. Ooh. They can't defend each other, and MMA gets cleaned right away, so the supply still tells a story that's pretty decent for Terran. 174 to the 161 of Cham, so he's got a lot of units on the opposite side of the map, but can Cham go right on it and try to snowball as the tanks are not all sieged up?
I don't blame Cham for not believing there's going to be that many tanks, because the first thing I saw was that MMA did not have his entire army on the front line.
Yeah.
So that actually makes sense that Cham tried, but of course he could not take that on and did take a couple too many blasts to the face of his Hydras. His Hive might have completed, but he actually didn't start his Hive tech until just now.
And that's a massive issue, because he was pushing down the opposite side of the map as the Marines will take a really imbalanced position over this 4th base, but no Hive technology on the side of Cham, so he's still fighting with Hydra, Lings and Banelings. Hajin raising her hands, she's like, yes, Korea is doing it, and yes, MMA is in a really great position right there, because there's nothing on the side of the Mexican player, to take on this army, even though the Baneling connects pretty well.
The Banelings actually were quite nice, but Cham is just not remaxing here. Yeah. He's actually banking a ton. Like, he has a couple of things really that would be going for him. If he hadn't pushed into those tanks accidentally, he still would have maybe 20 more supply. If he would spend his minerals and gas, he'd actually be at an okay army supply specifically. But he's waiting. He's waiting on the Spire. He's waiting on his upgrades. He's waiting to deal with all of this harassment, and he's just not actually macroing right now. That Spire finishes, but he's on his way for the Greater Spire.
Yeah. Does he have any lava? I think one of the... he doesn't have that many lavas. He's got 7 right there, and yes, he has a little bit of money, and he was able to produce a little bit more Hydralisks, but the tank count keeps on rising. We've got, I believe, like 9 or 10 barracks on the side of MMA that added a couple more when he secured his 4th base. And for now, it's just complete domination. He will keep on harassing as he does right there with the Liberator, with the tanks, with the Medivacs. And now the 5th base just fell. And let's see if he can do a miracle hold, Cham, that is. But I just don't see it happening.
Can we actually see, okay, maybe after this fight ends, as this Cham... This is probably Cham's last fight. The Banelings aren't plenty enough, although they get some good connections. Tanks actually on the high ground, the Hydras can't deal with, and this is going to be the death push here. But I wanted to see how many Queens were actually lost in this game for it to be such a problem. 6?
Yeah, 6 Queens in total.
He didn't really make many. I'm just like, the snowball effect here is real from all the drops and harassment that we said weren't killing too many drones, but obviously was affecting his macro in other ways.
Definitely, definitely. And that's one of the major issue here on the side of Cham that has potential to hold those attacks, but didn't have quite the numbers to do so. Still, couple of drops, the multitask from MMA just raining down on Cham, who will lose his 4th base as he moves closer to his opponent here with 4 tanks on the high ground. GG, MMA takes game 1. And I would not say with ease. It was harder than most of the games that he had to play against the UK, but his performance, his multitasking was on point.
Yeah, I'm glad to see that he played Bio again. You know, maybe there was some talks about like, oh, he plays mech because he's getting old, but now plays Bio again, which maybe Cham wasn't expecting. He did kind of have to transfer out of Roaches, which maybe he didn't want to do. But that was more of a MMA can bleed game than it was between South Korea and the UK, for sure. Cham actually had some really great moments. I think that he obviously had a handle on how to deal with an army like that because he constantly got some type of surround. He just started to really fall behind. And, I mean, I don't want to say like this is the ultimate snowball effect here, but bringing it back to the first 7 minutes of the game, no Spore Crawlers. Spore Crawlers would have helped against the Liberators. They would have helped against the medevac drops. They would have had it, so we didn't have to pay attention to make sure his queens didn't die. I mean, we had really had to take a very close look at the game to see if that was truly the reason he died here, but felt like it kind of contributed.
Well, everything that happens in a game, and especially in the early game, is going to affect everything that's going to happen afterwards. So I'd say I'd agree with you. I think it was a massive oversight on the side of Cham. Even though he scouted the Banshees, he didn't have the spores in position. He expected his Overseer to be everywhere at once, which is not possible, except if you make multiple Overseers. And yes, he didn't have... even like if you've got Overlord speed... Yes, your Overseers are actually quite mobile, but this just didn't happen in this game. And from there, MMA with massive bio play, nice 3-3 timing, added some more Raxes when he secured his 4th base. It was just always pressuring his opponents. That was really nice to see.
Yeah, and obviously Cham was eventually affected by it. I feel like Blackpink's actually a really good map for harassment and Liberator harassment in particular. I really feel strongly about Spore Crawler on this one, or maybe some other maps it's not as bad. Because the 3rd is actually like oddly far away. It's obviously not terrible to take, but...
And there's some really decent positioning for Liberators in general. Like, you can go YOLO, like, right on top of the hatchery, but you can also take some pretty decent positioning in the back, as we saw in this game. We'll have the next player from Mexico in 5 seconds. Jess, it's going to be...
Special. That was the first name I could think of. Damn.
If I said Jim Rising, I would have looked super smart now. I would not have looked super smart. I didn't say anything. It's okay. Jim Rising will try and take on MMA. He did say in the interview that he thought he had the skills to beat MMA.
Sure.
Now he needs to show it.
I mean, I love Jim Rising. I think he has a very fun style, and I love his attitude about the game, too. But it's like, if this was the reverse.
Great guy.
If Jim Rising had just had that game, and I was like, oh my god, MMA is actually not like just totally dominating here, then I'm like, okay, Cham can absolutely do it. But in this order, I'm like, I mean, Jim Rising certainly learned some things. Now he realizes that, MMA is also playing Bio, too. But is that going to help him? I don't know. We'll see. Maybe some Mutalisk play. He showed it earlier. The map is Neon Violet Square, which is a map MMA used to play mech. Just before in the best of 7 they played against the United Kingdom. So we'll see if he goes back to mech. What does Jim Rising expect out of this guy? In the bottom right, representing South Korea, he is the first Iron Squid, MMA. In the top left, from Mexico, it is the blue Zerg, Jim Rising.
Okay, so no early shenanigans from either of those two players. Okay, I expected maybe a CC first from MMA, but he will drop down that Rax, add on the Extractor right away, so he can go for a Reaper opening, as Jim Rising will go for that early hatchery. Decently timed hatch gas pool would be a smart opening from the Mexican player. Obviously, he will go for it. So now he showed us Mutas. What do we expect on this game? Do you expect Mutas from Jim Rising once again?
I do, just in general. But I think that there's multiple things going into that, and he even said that in an interview. One, it was that he thought it was going to be mech, so he was kind of going for the surprise factor, which is always a bit scary for mech players. Although MMA's been doing a lot of the Thor first, so I don't know if that's really going to be the smartest thing. And there was also Eastwatch, where I felt like maybe on a map like Catalyst, you go Mutas, and it's not mech, and you're like, oh shoot, like I should have got Hydras. That's scary. Eastwatch, actually, it's perfect. So there's a lot of things contributing to why that looks so good versus expect.
It is a really good map for Mutas. Like, every time I face Mutas on this map, I'm like, yes, they brought back Mutaling Bane because of this map, It's like, it is really, really good. Like, if you can get, and especially the way Jim Rising did it, which is like defending properly and waiting quite a long time before starting those Mutalists, so you can start right away with like 15. And that's the moment you scout that and you start running running after the Mutas, like harassing every single base, then you hate your life as a Terran player, obviously.
Yeah.
You totally pin back,
They take away my plates way, They take away the tanks across from the the walls when you go for Mutas. Then it works in favor of the Zerg. I'm like, oh, that's fine. But anyways, that's not the problem on Invalid Square. The problem on this map, actually, if you're going to go into the mid-game, which is still a question mark, Jim Rising might have seen a timing he wants to abuse. Then we do have to talk about the wideness of the middle of the map, eventually the violet squares themselves, and of course, we're going to talk more about that once MMA shows us if he goes bio or mech. Hopefully, Jim Rising very on top of scouting for that specifically.
But I like what MMA has shown, because yes, he had the builds that he prepared probably for the first best of 7. Now plays the second one. Starting player once again gets the first win for himself and his country, but showed a lot of variance and tiny adjustments from game to game. Like, do I open with Banshee right away? You don't expect that, obviously, sometimes, because you've seen the Viking being the first unit. We also saw a couple of medivacs here and there. And then, do I play mech? Do I play bio? It's not just like, okay, MMA already played 5 games, so now I know exactly how he's going to play. No, he remains a mystery. He remains a player that you don't really expect anything in particular of, because he showed everything. I like it.
Of course, the Overload's going to die long before it truly sees what it's going to be. Because even if the start goes on here, it could still be stim later on. And then, of course, it could have just been swapped back. Very tricky. Jim Rising adds on a Roach Warren before he adds on his third base. And I actually want to say that's more of a mistake than it is something super clever. I don't want to 100% say that, but it just kind of feels that way. Well, if it is meant to be just like a very early Roach Warren, then of course we're going to talk about the possibilities of Roach Rushes, Nidus Worm, all that. But the lair timing's already kind of come and gone.
Getting 2 tumors out of here. One of the greatest feeling as a Terran player. We'll remove some of the potential for early crypt spread on the side of the Zerg player. And we see Viking into Banshee once again. 3rd CC. Is it on location, or does he go for a wall? I think it's a wall CC.
Yeah, eventually.
I always like consider it's not a good idea on this map for some reason. Like, you've got the pocket expand, so maybe you get something a little bit closer. But sometimes you get punished for it. So
I just figured something out. I always have trouble with command center wall offs, unless it's Catalyst, and then I have that down pat. That's fine. It's 2 supply depots in a command center. But you know what it is? It's like when I try and play Protoss and try and have a wall against Zerg. I'm just like, where does it... No, this is going to block this. Oh, okay, I don't know. And I slap anything down just to have something down. That's a command center wall for me. And I don't have the patience or the forethought to actually memorize what I should do, which clearly MMA did. That's a very clever way to put his command center, and that will eventually wall off.
That was about depot on the left side and a couple depots on the north side, and you've got both entrances blocked. We will see bio from MMA once again against Jim Rising, this time with double eBay after a third command center. So we're looking at pretty much the exact same build as game number 1, except that there was a Viking that was used before, and Jim Rising, respects the opportunity for Banshees to kill stuff, so built a couple of spores.
I do love that. So it is kind of interesting for the Viking. I mean, last game I kind of just said, like, well, if he's going to go mech again, then the Viking doesn't have to kill Overlords. It's always nice, but, really the real power is getting 2 or 3 Overlords and then them not placing them back. Then he can just bio drop everywhere. But now he does, and he still goes bio, so it is a worry for Jim Rising. Hopefully his creep spread is as good as Cham's one was, because Cham's actually pretty good. He just got pushed on the left side a little too hard.
I'd argue that considering he lost 2 creep tumors earlier, I'd say this creep spread is not too shabby on the side of Jim Rising, sorry. Banshee will find another opening, gets a 3rd drone. but the creep is not being pressured for the moment, as we can see MMA scouts right away. The fourth base of Jim Rising adds on 10 drones. The Zerg player, that is 55 drones at the moment, will skyrocket to 65, will be perfectly saturated on over 3 bases, adds on the Baneling Nest, and good guy Jim Rising, he adds a Spire.
I mean, I feel like if Sham had this type of start, he actually would be looking like so much better in that last one. He really was just thrown off by the Banshee so early. But I think for Jim Rising, you know, kudos for building the Spore Crawlers, dealing with it easy peasy. This is where the real test happens for him. It's against the medevac drops. So far, defending Hellion Banshee, I mean, that's kind of the basics of Zerg, but dealing with drops, especially from a Korean Terran, like the ultimate, you know, set of words there, that's hard.
Jess, he's completely out of position. Those 60 Marines, they've been unloaded without even a single unit placing itself to defend against that. Even the spawning pool will be targeted down and will fall. That means no extra Zerglings, no extra Banelings as well on the side of Jim Rising. Those roaches were completely out of position. And MMA, well, I think that was some nice targeting though. 3 Banelings right away. And I think he didn't even believe that it would be that easy, because if it were me, like, you go straight up, you destroy the Spore, you get all the drones, right?
Yeah.
In the end, just got a couple of units, got the Queen, and got the spawning pool. So obviously a really, really, really good drop from MMA, but even didn't believe that Jim Rising was so out of position.
I wonder if Jim Rising was thinking it was mech again. That's now he has mutas on the way, but of course he's going to have a tough time replacing the Lings. Without the spawning pool being done, there wasn't a lot of creeps for to protect his 4th base. He was still working on that when that drop happened, so it's a goner.
No extra Zerglings on the side of Jim Rising. The spawning pool is not done yet. Centrifugal hooks is finished. Some more drones will transition. They didn't get the memo. You don't want to go there. 6 drones will fall, but the mutas on the right side, that's a good opening for those mutas. Getting 1 tank, getting a second one, and will escape after that, only losing 1 Mutalisk. That's, well, silver lining for Jim Rising right there. We'll be able to produce Zerglings once again now that the spawning pool is over, but there's still a lot of Terran right there.
I'm guessing MMA wasn't expecting the mutas. This is not going to go well. The concave was pretty good. The Banelings did not connect with the Marines. Even though the tank count was cut, still not good enough. GG.
GG. MMA gets the second win against the second Zerg player, Cham, and Jim Rising fall. But there's one guy remaining, guys. And this guy is pretty good at StarCraft. What could argue he is a special boy.
Yes, he certainly is. Mm-hmm. That's where I think a lot of the fans' perspective was when they voted in Mexico, even on top of South Korea, which is a big surprise. 1%, but still. Mm-hmm. Is that they figure special is going to really turn things out. But man, I really wish they had stuck with the old Jim Rising scout format. I feel like Cham could have done really well had he known some of the tricks. But
yeah, I agree. I agree with that. I'm quite surprised that they didn't send out Jim Rising first. Well, I liked what he tried to do in this game, and I always like seeing Mutalisk, but the build order from MMA was just like clean and perfect.
It was.
This timing was just by the books. It's like, let's go. Oh, you've got Mutalisk? Yeah, that's fine. I've got 1 million Marines, man.
Out of position, and I don't think he was expecting the 7-minute drop. The good old bio drop off 3cc. He just was probably expecting something else. Oh well.
Well, it looks really hard for Mexico now. MMA, after all killing the UK, and he's on his way to maybe all kill Mexico.
Yeah, 6-0 for MMA. But now he plays against the best player in the Mexican lineup.
Yeah.
So if there is a game to take, I think it's the next one for Mexico.
Yeah, absolutely. I really think that MMA is going to have a very tough time. I think it's his TVT. He understands it. He gets it. But I think that Special actually might have better mechanics at this point in time.
Mm-hmm. And look at that. It looks like Korea have 55% now.
Yeah, now that people see that MMA is the real deal, they start voting for Korea once again. But I mean, it could still be a pretty tough matchup to call, even though it starts super well for South Korea here. But the tables could turn like right now. If Special comes in with like a proper strategy, can take on MMA. Well, for starters, that would be good because we will see other players from the South Korean lineup.
Yes, I can't wait to see Sewer Innovation.
Yeah.
But for that, Special, we have to take MMA first. And see you after the break. Hello and welcome back for the last series of the day, and we'll find out real soon which nation is gonna join Italy and Norway in the quarterfinals. And I'm here with Zombie Grub and Rotterdam.
Real soon, Special versus MMA is going to be a fantastic TVT. That might even happen twice, but I really feel like Special's got this.
Yeah, I think on paper this is the best match of the day so far, but it really feels like today's Nation War is just the MMA show. Like, people are like, oh, we're doubting MMA, this Korean lineup is not as strong as it used to be. MMA is kind of a fan favorite pick. Well, he's showing us that he's a lot more than that. I mean, turns out that class is indeed permanent because he just looks really, really good. Now, this is his biggest test of the day. Of course, beating the Muslim, I think, was already very impressive because Ben has been quite on fire lately. But Special is considered to be the best Terran outside of Korea. But I don't know, man. This MMA kind of scares me. He frights me.
It's getting late in Korea. It's 4 a.m. And here we go for Special against MMA and Catalyst.
There's actually a lot of things to say and compare with that match versus the Muslim, but of course we'll have to actually see how this even starts, because both these guys, you know, world-class Terrans, MMA, maybe with technically... Well, actually, I can't even say technically more experience. Maybe more experience in, like, the high end of tournaments, just how many he won, you know, back in his heyday, but... Actually, Special's been around for a long time, too. But anyways, both these guys can really just do something really even cheesy, despite it being kind of like not quite the last map for Mexico, but almost to it. So...
Surprise!
Just kidding.
Special took Proto, so we need to remake the game. I was like, oh, interesting.
Should have been on purpose, man. You know, Proto's pretty good lately against Terran, even though maybe not always, but no spoilers.
That would have been fun to watch, like Scarlet sometimes play Pro, so...
See, apparently Scarlet is also super good with Terrans. He mentioned that.
Really?
He got a couple of very high-end victories, like basically the top names that you can think of Korea. They may or may not be on this team as well, as he was able to beat them in TVT.
Really?
Scarlet is crazy.
She's so good. I miss her. I really, it's a shame that she's not in the Canadian team.
That's so weird, because last time I saw her Terran was like 6 months ago, and it was, I mean, it wasn't amazing. It was very old school, first of all, which is kind of weird. Like, she had builds that were from 3 years ago or something, and then 2 years ago.
I think that goes for a lot of people when they play the off race. Like, when I play Terran right now, it's 2-1-1 in every matchup. It's like, give me 16 Stim Marines, and something should be possible.
Oh, we have a tweet here from Julian in Germany. I just got these little goodies made by Nicolas Chaussois for Nation Wars to help increase the prize pool. Yeah, it's really nice. And actually, we just... reached more than 60% of the crowdfunding goal. It's really amazing. Thank you so much, guys. And you can still keep buying those in-game items and really cool t-shirt to look like a boss.
So, Hajin, now my big question to you is, are you rocking that Korean portrait yet?
Yeah, I am.
On the ladder?
Yeah, on the ladder. Well, I just play like 2v2, 3v3.
Come on. When are we going to see that 1v1 Hajin stream? What's your main race, Hajin?
I actually studied Protoss because when I started being interested, I was a big fan of Zest and Stats. And then, like, one day, Nerigret showed up on my stream, and he was like, hey, you should play Zerg. So I just changed, and I'm, like, learning Zerg, and I'm really enjoying
you're
it.
12 pooling, right? That's the no regret impact right there.
Okay, but what if I come in and say you should definitely play Terran?
I will, and then I'll end up playing a random race, I guess.
Nice.
I'll play Protoss.
No, I'll play Terran.
Actually, don't play Protoss.
Oh, why?
But because it's one of the worst things I ever did in my life.
Oh my god! If it would like restart, which race would you choose?
You dare to ask me, Hajin? What do you think I'm going to answer?
Protoss?
No, of course not.
Zerg?
Yes.
Oh, okay, Zerg, yeah.
Of course, Zerg.
I think that's what he mentioned when he brought up, StarCraft 3 he's going to really consider.
Okay, and here we go with Special and Terran this time.
Okay. This is exactly what we want to see, a TVT between these two guys. In the bottom right, on quite the win streak for Korea, it is MMA.
The MMA show. Is it going to be stopped by this man who's representing Mexico? He is the only foreigner to ever make it to the semi-finals of the WCS Global Finals. It is Special. I think they muted Hajin. That's so sad. We got the soundtrack back, guys.
Yeah. Well, it's fitting now that we have South Koreans here, but then this TVT, I hope, is really going to be quite good. We do already have a difference of openers. No one ended up cheesing, and you don't really consider a one base from a Terran cheese. Well, not often anyways, unless they really all in with it. But Special is going to be able to scout this, more so scouting for the 2 racks, but now seeing what's up here. I think the last time MMA did this, he did a factory expand. That would have been nice to see actually how fast the second gas is, but not totally necessary.
It's funny, if you ask me 3 days from now what I remember the most from this day, at least up to this point, it would absolutely be MMA versus Razorblader. And that's not to bash Razorblader, but how MMA picked him apart while going up to 4 bases, once again at the 6-minute mark, and applying some sort of light pressure with a couple Cyclones, a few Marines, and a Medevac, and he just got so much done with so little. And then it actually just turned into the GG moment. It was 4 base against 2. Yeah. He was the one being aggressive on 4 bases. And once again, Razorblader is a pretty damn good Terran player. If you face him on the ladder, you're like, holy crap, this guy is good. You know, he's got units everywhere. And that just really shows to me that MMA right now is in excellent condition.
That TVT was where what I think is going to happen if I ever play against a pro gamer. I'm just like, that's how it's going to look. Maybe even like worse than that. But no, it was absolutely a show class of skill for MMA. But I really think that Special is on his level or even maybe a little bit above. I mean, I don't know their actual score, but you know, it's probably a lot of back and forth. But Special, he has been doing very diligent scouting with this SCV. He scouted for another factory, another starport. I thought maybe he would go for a proxy starport, but no, he just went and scouted the command center timing. It was really nicely done by him.
I just noticed that there is a 20 on top of the starport. How did I not notice this earlier today? Did you notice it?
I think I knew that.
Okay.
But
I actually didn't see it before. That's kind of cool.
I mean, yeah, I don't really... It is the tag or whatever it's called on the ground for your command center. What is that called? That's not the spray.
Decal? Maybe?
Is it the decal?
I have no idea.
Because like, the decal is what it's in your client. Well, anyways, doesn't matter. We do have a Cyclone out for MMA, but we actually have 2 Cyclones out for Special. He did not go for a starport. He is doing the just factory expand. He's probably going to get a faster 3rd CC. He had a lot of intel, or a lot of good intel anyways, from MMA versus the Muslim and versus Razorblader. So I actually wonder how much he's allowing that to play into it, but a lot of just back and forth going down here, a lot of micro.
Yeah, I like this already. Even though not too much has happened, not too many units went down, it seems like the Reaper did get picked off in the left bottom side. I love the mobility that Special is showing us. He's not giving MMA his comfort zone. He's not giving all the time in the world to just execute his build. There is high ground advantage here for MMA, which means that he gets a couple of shots off first, but 2 Cyclones are better than 1. Special gets so close to getting that Cyclone. In the end, he doesn't get the job done there. He does spot the Banshee, of course. What a fun way to start off this TVT. 4 minutes and 30 seconds in, but already so much has happened.
Yeah, it's really quite a catastrophe if the Cyclone player doesn't scout that it's Banshees. You do not have missile turrets already ready to go, and you might not be saving a scan either, but in this case, he absolutely was. Cyclones responded immediately, including the reinforcing ones. Double scan to ensure that he gets it. Range is pretty good on the Cyclones.
Yep.
He grabs it.
That's a good call there. It felt like a risky one at first, but he felt like he had enough damage, and he still had the lock on. Now, MMA is going to throw up another command center in his main. As, of course, he didn't scout anything yet in the main base of Special, but Special already has that CC, more than halfway done. And there we once again have that very quick Raven that you were very fond of in the match against the Muslim.
Yeah, we'll see exactly where he wants to go with this, because first, you know, of course, it's bio versus mech. He is adding a tech lab to that barracks. This Banshee is found out, which is really nice. Obviously, it cloaks to break the lock on, but now, if there's a scan ready, 4 Cyclones will demolish this. It's going to go down. A nice defense here. Special, I mean, he's going for what is like the classic, just all-around good unit, Cyclones and more Cyclones, and a faster 3rd CC. MMA, I thought he kind of recognized that with the first 2 Cyclones, but the next 2 certainly would have told him, and you don't really have Cyclones into bio, so he should know that it's mech as well.
Feels like this is the first time today where MMA doesn't get the start that he's looking for. Really hasn't really done any damage yet with his Cyclones. It's only a single Raven up to this point, so he's not going to go for that triple Raven build that we saw on Backwater. Perhaps he's a little bit too nervous about it. There's 2 Liberators on the way now for Special, who's still being active. What I like the most is how busy Special is keeping MMA, making it so hard for MMA to figure out what's actually going on in the main base of Special.
Yeah. Again, I think he has a rough idea, but this is something peculiar. He did not go for 2 extra factories, putting up to the 3 and then the 5 and then whatever. He actually went for the 2 and then 1 starport. So the starport 1 is going to be a little bit faster than expected if MMA is really reading into this as accurately as possible. And then 2, you don't just expect that fast a double Liberator harassment. One, sure, why not? Vikings, okay, fine. But double, this early on, MMA is probably going to lose a couple SVs just because you won't expect the second one.
Yeah, what does MMA truly have right now that shoots up? Can we take a look? So he's got 10 Marines and potentially an auto turret from the Raven. Obviously 10 Marines, if you split them over 2 bases, it's hard to scout this though. Like you said, you normally don't really expect 2 Liberators to show up in this phase in the game. So kind of like where this game is going so far for Special, trying to keep Mexico in this nation war. He has potentially 2 lives, as of course normally we do expect Special to be the ace. Could perhaps be an all-star performance in the making already.
He might even pull the SCVs to the main, which should be a problem. Okay, no, he just pulls them away. Instant reaction on both sides, actually, very nicely done. So only 3 go down, but then, kind of ditto for Special, who immediately unsieges them, attacks the third base too. That's too many tanks, so unfortunately he won't get very much more, but he knows his third CC is faster, and he's denying so much mining.
Yeah, this is an insane amount of economic damage. It's not just the 5 SCVs that Special killed with this, but it's basically the 40 SCVs that are just not mining for the last 20-30 seconds. That really adds up, and you can see now Special, economically at least, is completely running away with this game. He has created a 14-worker advantage for himself. He's already very comfortably mining up that base. This Liberator will go down, but boy oh boy, were these Liberators worth it.
Yeah, and what's also nice for Special is that there is that weird awkward moment when you're going into siege tanks from Cyclones. In this case, he also added a starport. You don't have a lot of beefy tanks, which are of course your backbone to mech most of the time, and he's been able to kind of deny MMA any control of the game, so there's not been really many drops he had to deal with. He does know where the army hopefully is moving towards. He's not quite repositioning yet.
This is that Liberator that was in the main base before. A couple of Marines are showing up and they will be able to take care of it, but not before 2 more SCVs go down. There is that Raven with Interference Matrix and he launches it immediately. Also lands a pretty good Scrambler missile, but there's one more attack in the backline there. MMA goes for it though, and he gets it quite quickly, and suddenly these tanks of MMA are in a really good position.
Yeah, it really is unfortunate that Special was unable to see this attack on the way. Otherwise, he might have had everything in position and also would have tried sniping the Raven before it got the anti-armor missile. So this does complicate things quite a bit. Special a bit on the ropes. He would need his Vikings to maybe even land if there's more reinforcements from MMA, but they are trickling across the map.
That's 11 SCVs going down already. A few more are trapped, and above all, it's just going to be very hard for Special to secure this location. Yes, he has a lot of Vikings. He can start working on these medevacs. He gets one of them there, but MMA gets a very big point on the board there, as he really needed something to go his way in this game, and he finally got it.
Yeah. Even if Special had seen this attack, it still would have been kind of questionable. But these SCVs, did he notice with the Raven, the Hellions moving over there? These SCVs are actually looking quite vulnerable.
A couple of Marines and Marauders are going to try to save the day. Probably a handful of SCVs will go down. It's 7 in total. 8 in the end. Not bad. Obviously worth it. And also gives Special a little bit of breathing room, right? Forces MMA to pay attention to things that are happening on the other side of the map. And that gives him time to get Liberators out, and obviously Liberators and Vikings pretty good together.
Yeah, of course has to still have a strong tank line beneath it to make sure it doesn't still get pounced upon, but it looks like it'll be fine. MMA not really rallying forward, realizing that time for that push was kind of over and done with. As expected, Scouts the Third was taking the other location, as was MMA's, and we'll now have still like a lot of opportunity to push and pull Special here. Special was supposed to be able to deal with that a lot quicker. He was supposed to have SAC defense already on the way. Instead, he's been pushed off with that, and it's still a very vulnerable position for a mech player.
That Raven is flying a little too far forward. One of these medevacs gets sniped immediately. This Viking count looking very healthy for Special, who is moving his tanks around, wants to make sure he's not cut out of position once again. I do like this drop, because that's kind of the stuff that's just hard to deal with when you're mech. You don't really want to overcommit, but at the same time, if you react too late to it, you're going to end up losing a lot of SCVs. That's 8 SCVs going down once again. Special still has plenty, but this damage is starting to pile up.
Yeah, it's really about finding Special out of position, which Special is doing a fantastic job tracing the army movement. He really wants to get that Raven to ensure interference matrix doesn't make it a doable fight. Fortunately, Hellion harassment not working out so well. These guys are super well matched for each other.
Yeah, I love how active he is with the Vikings. You can clearly see that he's looking for another one of those pickups. And obviously, it's very hard to stem in if you don't have any medevacs. And Special has already been able to take out 3 or even 4 medevacs throughout this game. And that just makes it a little harder for MMA.
4, exactly. I still think he really wants that Raven, but MMA's been doing an equally good job protecting it. It has full energy, so a real threat here. Even taking out a Liberator could be very helpful. The Viking count, he really doesn't need too many more, and I'm actually kind of worried that he's putting too much emphasis on that. Maybe whenever he has the excess minerals and gas, of course, no problem. But it's more about the army on the ground right here, right now. Liberator does find a vulnerable SCV line.
Yep, and that's very nice. Once again, annoying for MMA, who doesn't really have any units in position to deal with this. At the same time, Hellions are running toward that fort base, so Special can start delaying that one as well. I felt there was a small scary moment there for Special when he only had 2 tanks on the high ground, but it's obviously really hard for MMA to make that call if there's one more tank that shows up, as these Vikings are finally getting that Raven they've been looking for. That was a Raven full on energy as well.
Yeah, it was. Oh my gosh, the double harassment going down here. The Liberator will be taken out eventually. No, not even. They target the Hellions instead. A lot of SCVs go down for MMA. Ooh. His 4th base still not quite complete, still being delayed actually, and Special now has a very good looking position in this game.
Yep, and that 4th base has been stalled as well, as the Hellions were able to pick that SCV off. I mean, the only thing that Special is missing is his own 4th base, but he's probably feeling quite happy with this game. He's at 173. He is floating that CC over already. I thought it was still landed somewhere. I mean, the moment that one goes up and running as well, he's got sensor towers now, which obviously makes it a little bit easier for the mech player to make sure he's not too far out of position. And I must say, I'm very, very impressed with the pace that Special is playing this game. It feels like he's all over the place. It started off with the little Reaper Hellion dance in the beginning of the game, and he never stopped.
Yeah. This has been really fantastic, but MMA is kind of running out of time for Pure Bio to work here. He's going to have to find an excellent surround or some sort to really have it work out, but he's actually just pushing into a bunch of tanks, losing his unnecessarily there. This is usually where MMA would love to have, starports on the way, because his 4th CC has already been done in mining, maybe even a 5th on the way, but he's still on just really bio and tank production, and Special has already kind of dealt with that threat.
MMA realizes that he cannot attack with his entire army in one location, so he's going to try to split off his army, and he kind of tricks Special there. This Planetary isn't totally done yet. At the same time, Special still harassing on the bottom side. Now that Planetary finishes up, is it going to be enough? Yes, it is, as these tanks get some massive shots off on these Marauders, and Special defends this attack as well, and things are starting to look really good for our Mexican Terran player.
Yeah, once that 4th base is actually secure, it gets really scary for the non-mech player, basically, unless MMA is already on his way to starports, but he just lost a huge chunk of supply. He doesn't have a big bank, and actually Special realizes the dire situation here and is going to push forward while still controlling the air. Some minor harassment in the back of a Planetary, but that's not really enough to stop Special, I would believe.
MMA's economy is just not strong enough at this point. He only has 50 SCVs. Of course, he does have 3 orbital commands, but he's just been losing so many SCVs. It's still only 3 orbitals. That command center is just kind of chilling there. He just has been nowhere near maxing out, and that's a big problem if you're the bio player. You want to trade, you want to reset the tank count if you can. Instead, Special is the one with a commanding army supply advantage, and I think that's it. GG. Special stops the MMA show that we've had so far today and hands South Korea their first defeat in this tournament.
I really believe in Special, man. I think that his TVT has been one of his most impressive. He's always been kind of on par with his hero TY for a while now, and it's TY, right? You can't say more than that. Not a better compliment to give. Maybe play like Mario, I suppose, is a bit better. But
that's the Neil meme.
Yeah, exactly. Special, just showing why he's such a dominant force. MMA does finally fall. That was his real test. This was like his master's thesis, and unfortunately, he does not actually get to. I guess you get the masters after you make it. I don't know how.
I mean, I really like this attack. I thought it was perfect. The execution was good with the Raven as well. But what I loved more above anything on this game is Special's non-stop harassment. He just didn't give MMA a break. MMA never got up to that 70, 72, 74 SCV count split over 4 bases. Nope. Every time he was close to 60, he ended up losing a couple again. Special just kept finding openings with his Hellions. The Liberator harass was super frustrating for MMA to deal with.
Yeah.
Just a brilliant game by Special.
And what's really key too is that he's killing the medevacs, and it seemed kind of like, well, is that really as important? Because he was still having his 3rd denied. He had to transfer over. That was the scariest moment for Special, but it's really important because that delayed his stack defense. He started to kind of lose the map control once his harassment was picked off, but there was no way that MMA actually was going to attack more than one place. He only had so many medevacs, and he was just kind of in one ball moving around, and eventually that just gets beat out by the mech ball.
And of course, it's super scary to stim into a bunch of tanks as well when you have no medevacs protecting those Marauders, because normally they survive a little bit longer, but if you don't have anything, I love this multi-prong harass as well, where he started off coming from the left side, that Liberator getting a lot of damage done, and I honestly feel that this was almost the nail in the coffin. At this point, Special is 20 workers ahead, and MMA has no way to be aggressive. That was almost a last-ditch attempt. Like, can I get the planetary? You see all the tanks sieging on the left side. Is like, nah.
No, not quite. It was also impressive that Special was able to keep up or even actually beat out MMA's upgrades. It's quite difficult to do on the 2-2. But this was just an awesome TVT, and now we get to see anyone else from the South Korean lineup.
It's Sue or Innovation. Those are the other two players on Team South Korea. Now, both, of course, are very scary. Obviously, I think that Special would like his revenge on Sue. Going back to those WCS Global Finals last year. That was a semi-finals where we had very high expectations of. A lot of hopes and dreams. In the end, Sue was proven to be a little too strong at that point. But Special, even though this year has already been ups and downs for him. I know we're only in March, but I really feel his performance has been all over the place. Started off very strong, Pyeongchang, Leipzig. Now, lately, last few weeks, a little bit more shaky. But let's see who's going to be our next player for Korea. It's Innovation.
Oh, I'm actually really happy he's going to be in the TVT. Innovation, of course, recently lost to Euthermal in TVT. I think that was kind of what really cemented a lot of people's opinions that he might be on a slump. But to be honest, they're just really awesome games. Like, that doesn't actually do credit to what happened there. But just bringing that up, not just for that point, but also for the point that, some of these foreigners are taking the Korean Terrans, that scary name. They're taking them in straight up TVTs, and Special is another one of them that can do it. Absolutely can.
Yeah, Euthermal also one of the guys that was actually very successful on the Korean ladder, while a lot of the foreigners that go over do struggle a little bit. Euthermal's results were excellent there, and I do think that often translates a little bit to tournament play. I mean, if you can truly get really high up the ladder, not top 50, but, quite a bit higher, you're looking at the top 20s, then suddenly you can give some of these guys a run for their money in tournaments as well, like we saw at the Intel Extreme Masters Katowice. But this is a big game, and I'm very excited for it, especially with all the talks about Innovation being in a slump. People forget so quickly how amazing Innovation was in 2017. I mean, I casted GSL vs. the World. That was one of the most dominant tournament performances I've ever seen. There was just... This man was absolutely untouchable back then, was overall super good in 2017, but ever since the Global Finals, it hasn't really been his moment anymore. Perhaps this is the start of another magical run for him. It's Innovation.
In the bottom right, the last hope for Mexico, it is the Blue Terran Special. But he's the last hope twice over, most likely.
Most likely.
Yeah, if he even needs it.
Oh, you go there, Jess?
Oh my God, yeah. Nah, I first I think I did a 4-2, and then I eventually got to a 4-3, but I was really like, can he beat Sue? That was my major question, because I think that Special's TVT has been up to the Korean standard for quite some time, and he plays like Korean, so I think there's no mix-up of styles that goes on either. I was like, yeah, definitely, he could take out Innovation, but Sue, oof, that's the big boss for me.
I think the ultimate moment for Special's TVT for me was when he actually took out TY in the group stage of the Global Finals. The man that he always looks up to, that he always takes all his builds from, and that many people considered at that point a very big potential winner of that entire tournament as well. But Special taking him out in the group stage to actually win that group back then was a big moment. Like I said, so far 2018 for Special's kind of been all over the place. Started off strong. I think in Leipzig he looked really good. Only lost to Serral. Obviously that's no shame. Then at Intel Extreme Masters Pyeongchang, I think he had a really good run, only losing to SOS in the semi-finals. No shame in that. But Katowice wasn't really his tournament. WESG wasn't his tournament. And GSL qualifiers didn't work out, so things do add up quite quickly in StarCraft when you play a lot of tournaments. And especially if you were as successful as Special, then we kind of keep an eye on that. And it's like, okay, is he going to be great again? Is he going to be great again? And then it's like 3 times in a row, okay, not super great.
Yeah.
Let's see where this goes.
It kind of does that thing there where you forget about him for a while and he just pops back up in the round of 4, or even the finals, and you're like, oh yeah, of course, Special deserves to be up there. Even in the sometimes the Korean tournaments. But we have a macro opener for both players. No 1-base versus 2-base. Acid Plan's kind of difficult to do that. It's also very difficult to do any Reaper shenanigans here, so like each of them only went 1. That makes sense.
Don't you just love maps where Reapers can only come in through the natural? I love it.
Yeah, I bet you do.
It's actually crazy. I've said this so many times. It is one of these things that's really hard to show in picture or even explain in words. What makes certain players so good and annoying with their Reapers. But the difference between like your average Terran or your top tier Terran when it comes to a Reaper is just massive. They're so good in calculating the potential damage. So they're always good in getting that Reaper out with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 HP. And it's just like, it just stays around for way too long. Obviously on maps like this, it's a little bit easy to deal with, whether you play Zerg, Terran or Protoss, but I think that truly sets apart already good players to great players. It's just the mobility with units early on. Innovation gets a very quick kill there on the Reaper of Special.
Yeah, we have 2 more Hellions out for Special, though, so he will win this, of course. But it is a bit of a reveal. Not 2 Cyclone follow-up, not a Barracks on that reactor. That's a little weird.
Good micro there by Special. Gets the Reaper, gets the Hellion. Pulled his own Hellion back as well. Almost seemed like Innovation was looking at home. He's like, I can win this fight because the Cyclone shouldn't be there yet.
Right.
It's like, no, actually it's 4 Hellions.
Yeah, Cyclones produce a lot slower. But it was the 4 Hellions, and that should be a sign, like a big sign. I'm pretty sure about this, and of course scouting is also a big sign, that it's going to be a drop. I mean, you don't see Hellion drops, I feel, too often against in TVT, but it can be effective. There's actually nothing here to deal with this Hellion.
Exactly. Oh, he's going to repair his SCV with the Mule. That's kind of cute, but this Hellion can technically get maybe one more kill if you would have put it behind the mineral line. Now the Banshee does pass the Medevac. This Medevac is going to unload these 4 Hellions. Innovation is a little bit out of position though. How much can Special get done?
Yeah, obviously these Marines don't have stims, so it's going to take quite a while to actually get here. Oh, and they lined up for just a brief second. Actually, that was a lineup, and he immediately picks up. The Scout and the Banshee was also very crucial, especially didn't quite have any defense set up yet. Going to go to the natural.
Wow.
How much more can he get?
These 4 Hellions are having a field day. They're going to get a couple more shots off. 8 SCVs have gone down. But more importantly, all 4 Hellions are still alive. That Medevac is still alive. The Banshee gets completely neglected there. Well done so far by Special, holding his own in this early game against Innovation.
Yeah, and then some. He's up by 6 workers now, and he's going to be up by a few more as the Marines are having such a tough time responding to this. If they split in such low numbers, they just don't do enough damage, and the Hellions still get the SCVs anyway. But finally, one goes down, as does the Banshee.
Yeah, the Banshee apparently did get some serious damage done, though. Suddenly, 7 SCVs did go down. Special's Medevac could potentially go down here. That's very, very close, but in the end, he barely saves it. Shame that that Banshee in the end got so much done. Otherwise, Special would have been in an absolutely magnificent position. But right now, it's still pretty damn good.
Yeah, well, he's not just up in SCVs. He had a much faster command center and still up in army supply because he did save the Medevac with the Hellions. Not that it's too much of a worry right now. No one's actually pushing across the map at this point. But it just goes along with the idea that Special is in the lead here.
I feel like in almost every matchup, it goes for TVT, TVZ, and TVP as well, that this 4 Hellion drop with the Medevac on pro level, it seems super successful. Like, obviously it's not something you can do every single game because there are hard counters to it in all those matchups. But more often than not, when I see this opening, they get a lot of damage done. In that phase in the game, most units are slow, you don't have stim. It's just hard to catch a Medevac with 4 Hellions.
It is. We are once again going to have Bio versus Mech, by the way. MMA got very close to breaking Special. He had only a few tanks. His 3rd CC wasn't entirely protected. It was a scary moment. Can Innovation hit that moment, but a little bit tighter? After losing so many SCVs, he's already not looking to do that.
He could potentially set both Liberators up in the natural as well and then drop the Hellions behind it. Instead, he's going to drop the Hellions out of position from these Marines. Stim is still not done. Interference Matrix is used though on the Medevac, but now the Liberators show up in the natural. Special is all over the place and just picking Innovation apart.
And he still, I was going to say, no way he still picks up the Medevac, the Hellions rather. Then it finally goes down, but double Liberator helped kill so many SCVs. Just a brief moment, and suddenly 17 SCVs go down. Innovation's down below 30.
Yep. He has created a 22 SCV advantage for himself. This is insane. Special playing out of his mind so far. Getting flashbacks of Marine Lord back then, but Special's actually in Korea, guys. They're playing on the Korean server. There is no ping advantage here. There is no time zone advantage either. Damn, Juanito really showing up today.
Yeah, Innovation is just really not going to have as strong of a timing here. And what really is disappointing is that he did go for 2 Ravens. One of the things that MMA almost was able to do was just Interference Matrix his way to taking up both the 3rd and then maybe even going to the natural. But there's some good focus fire from Special with his Vikings. Special this time doesn't have too many Vikings. I think he's literally getting them now after building so many Liberators. And, I mean...
all he has to do is defend, right?
He's done so much damage already, exactly. Yeah. It's just to defend. Innovation, not not as scary as I think MMA was.
Oh, he's going to get a few more SCVs here, and this really puts pretty much innovation is just all in at this point. If he goes back home, it's going to take forever. There's just no saving this anymore. I think Innovation knows it as well. He needs to do something with the army that he currently has, with that Raven that he has, because there's no way that he can macro his way out of this. And I think he knows it as well. He's going forward, loses one of his Ravens immediately.
He was able to interference the other Raven, though, so his tank's still firing, which was really quite important. He doesn't have too many of them, but with 2, 3, the fourth one now comes out. This should be close enough. I mean, there's not going to be any healing with these Marauders, so another Sim's going to kill them.
Oh, that one last tank is going to get picked up as well. Innovation does win the battle, but I mean, he needs to do more than just winning a battle. He needs to kill a tremendous amount of SCVs as well. And that's kind of tough in an on-siege tank and a couple of Marauders. He's getting a little bit of work done, but I think he knows it as well. He needed so much more than what he got there.
This is surprisingly scary, as there wasn't 5 factory production. There was only 3 with a starport, or 2 even. I mean, Innovation actually might just be able to do something here. There's a lot of lost mining time. Only 5 SCVs down, though, and still a huge worker disparity. But he's working on it.
Yeah, this is nice. Now a couple of units coming in from the north side as well. Special does win that Viking skirmish. Gets a couple of shots up on these Hellions. SCVs are being pulled on the top side now as well. They're going to get the surround, sort of, on the tank and the Marauder. So even though this all looks scrappy for Special, it's okay. I mean, SCVs with their drilling claws just taking care of a tank. But this is all fine. Special knows that he did so much on the other side of the map that as long as he doesn't take insane damage, this is always going to be good for him. The 2-2 upgrades haven't even started yet for Innovation.
Now that his factories are done, the scary point is kind of over, because you also have the size of Acid Plant working for you, but it's like, it's still not the higher tank count that he needs. Like, if you have 5 tanks, this is actually not so much a worry, especially without any medevacs. But he's only at the 2. They are getting into position. Okay, now he's at 3.
It's no medevacs.
This should be good enough, yeah, because even if he stims in, it'll hurt him more.
There is just no medevac here for Innovation. I'm not sure if he's building any or if some are on the way, but without tanks, he can maybe put a couple of Marines in an awkward spot there, but that one tank on the south side of the orbital will cover the Marines if they get closer to that mineral line. Now we do have a medevac, I believe, incoming. It's just, okay, it's a potential double drop, but 2 Hellions show up from Special, as Innovation did not finish his little wall up just yet. So even if these Hellions don't get much done, they spot the drop, they delay the drop, and Special creates more time for himself. And time is all you need if you're up by 15, 20 workers.
Yeah, he's now putting the worker lead into a very good use, not just with the production and upgrades, but also some missile turrets coming down, a center tower, a 4th CC even. I mean, kudos to Innovation. He now even has an even army supply, a little bit above. He's able to get back to almost 60 workers. Did not expect that. I thought it was super all in, but this is going to be a tough mid game for Bio versus, oh gosh.
Blue Flame Hellions show up in the natural of Innovation, who is going to once again lose more than just a couple SCVs, as 12 SCVs have gone down already. The total kill count will stay at 12, but that's still, again, it's kind of a slap in the face where Innovation was almost looking at that good work account. But what I'm more worried about, Jess, is there's no 2-2 upgrades for Innovation.
Yeah.
He's going to have a very tough time if Special keeps upgrading his mech units, which is what he was absolutely doing against MMA, as he had +3 on the way very quickly.
You know,
these bio units are going to have a very tough time.
Yeah, they are. I mean, you're not just to the upgrades, you have to have a bigger army supply, so you're really threatening all over the place, and that's just not happening. More SCVs go down, 3 at least. Liberator lives. Does find a weak spot here. The Mustards weren't covering the main entirely. Special will have to be dragged out of position at least a little bit, and we'll be losing SCVs for it.
Yeah, that is nice. He avoided all the missile turrets. Gets a couple of SCVs here. 11 actually already going down. Refinery goes down, but if he gets the orbital, that's nice. That would be a massive pickoff. There's a tank that's going to siege up as well. Oh, Special's not... No, what? What's going on with the focus fire here? The orbital does get picked off. Now Innovation drops on top of the tanks of Special. Gets a decent trade there.
Well, okay, the Hellions do actually respond here and find the SCVs, so a lot is going on. I can't believe Innovation's almost bringing this back, but Special is continuing his worker harassment, so he does lose a chunk of his army supply, and he lost an entire CC. He did already have a 4th done.
How many SCVs have Special killed in this game? Is it 60?
70?
82 in a 12-minute game against Innovation. How often does that happen, Jess?
I mean, how often does the guy who lost 82 SCVs by this point actually still have a game to go off on?
You need to be Innovation for that as well, indeed, but insane harass by Special in that previous game against MMA, but in this game he has taken it to a whole nother level. These are still just 1-1 Marines and Marauders. The tank count is not as high as it was. A couple of tanks did get picked off. Innovation tries to get in here, but there's a tank there in the back line as well. Special does end up losing his first 2 tanks, though.
Yeah, that actually wasn't strong enough. I was surprised that Innovation took so long to break it. It actually just was only a couple of tanks. But the Vikings to now get on top of the medevacs. The tanks are fired upon, which was the real kicker here. If those tanks are still alive, Innovation maybe pulls into the natural as well, but now he really can't. So that is a stop. Once again.
There are 10 tanks. I was like, where are they? I was like, okay. And then Kevin shows us this. I was like, all right, here are the majority of the tanks. Special making sure he doesn't end up losing his third base. Still enjoying that economic advantage. But I must add that obviously the main and even the natural will start running quite dry if you're Special here. I mean, he has 72 SCVs. He's been dropping a lot of mules. So the work account is a tiny bit deceiving 14 minutes into a game of Legacy of the Void if you don't have a fourth base.
But of course, time is on Special's side regardless of that, I think. Just because he will be able to max out with whatever he has left, and that's when he can start actually positioning enough around his bases. So far, it has been the case of, I'm out of position because I only have so many tanks. When you have 25 tanks, that's not so much an issue anymore. Maybe one more center tower as well. And Innovation is not going to be able to actually own up to the mech army without those upgrades, without a superior army supply.
Innovation is looking for stuff in the right top side of the map. I think he got a couple Hellions there as well. +3 vehicle weapons is already on the way. Innovation still on 1-1. But I do sort of understand it. Since Inno was so broke for so long, he knew that if he would be investing in upgrades, he would lose his momentum. And the only choice he had was to somehow keep some momentum. And sometimes investing in upgrades is the right, is the wrong thing to do. But obviously, the longer it goes on, the more painful that decision becomes.
Yeah. I feel like Innovation, the momentum lasted longer than I thought. I was going to say that he should transfer into an emergency desperate starport swap 3 minutes ago, but that clearly wasn't going to help him. Momentum almost helped him, but now I think that might be his only option.
Only 2 tanks right now. There's a lot of tanks in reposition, but they get some magical shots off on these Marauders. So both tanks survive there for a long time. In the end, they do finally go down. But the tanks of Special are so much stronger than the tanks of Innovation, of course. The Vikings will take care of the medevacs as well. Inno has a few more units running around, but this is exactly what you meant before. He's not finding the same openings as he did a couple minutes ago.
Yeah, we even have Hellbats coming in now that he realizes drops are still that threats. That will turn into a planetary with maybe a missile turret or 2, and that will be protected. Innovation is actually running out of time for his bio to be useful.
Yeah, I mean, Special does really need that fourth base, but it seems like he's going to be able to get it. I mean, all 3 bases are starting to run a little bit dry. Inno lost a lot of SCVs, which means he was obviously mining a little bit less for a while, decides to float over his main to 9 o'clock. It's a cute position, but the tank count that you mentioned before, I mean, we're probably looking at 15 tanks now, right?
At least.
14.
Yeah.
But 3 more on the way, so 17 soon. And this will allow Special to not only have a couple tanks at home, but at the same time be aggressive, get a lot of SCVs that were on long distance mining. And this is really Inno's moment. He needs to at least take care of all the SCVs, the base, the tanks, and I'm not sure if he has the units for it.
No. Those 3 tanks in the back are actually slaughter the rest of Innovation's push there. He's not really able to push into a planetary, so he just drops behind to deny mining. A little bit of like a base race, or a base trade rather, like 1 base for 1. Innovation really desperately trying to get some magic to happen, but it's not quite enough.
He's going to drop a few more bio units on top of these tanks, but in the end, the Vikings will take care of that medevac as well. A lot of very low HP tanks. I mean, Special's economy definitely took a big hit there as well, but he's still got that massive army on the other side of the map. And he looks at Innovation and says, what are you going to do about it? And Inno knows probably not all that much.
No, it's not. Innovation down to his last few minerals, 55, but he's not mining. GG.
Damn. What a game. Poor Nito, absolutely on fire. 82 SCVs against Innovation in a 12-minute game it was. That is madness.
I actually thought that Innovation was going to tilt. I thought after the Liberator and the Hellion harassment, he was just going to be like, well, this is over. But he actually almost brought it back. The scary moment where there weren't that many factories existed again in this game, as it will for any future TVTs that might occur. But of course, coming up next is a TVZ.
Yeah, maybe that rematch of obviously the rematch, but maybe that revenge for that global finals defeat. An absolutely insane game. Once again, this opening, the 4 Hellions and the medevac. I always see it being successful. That was so nice. They line up. There is something very satisfying about a bunch of workers being lined up against Hellion harass.
Of course there is, yeah. Both of these players played so well. I mean, MMA also played super well against Special. Special just cannot let down his guard, but it's so just impressive that it's Innovation, that's who has let down his guard. That's who's actually messing up here, not able to take his team to a victory, and they might just have to depend on Su.
Yep. I mean, if Innovation gets another shot, I do feel that in the first few minutes of this game, almost everything went Special's way.
Yeah.
Of course, he forced it. He created it with his opening, but Innovation obviously did not see these things coming, was way out of position. The Liberators just absolutely wrecked him as well, was not able to mine for forever. And at that point, he was forced to play a kind of a low eco, low upgrade game. The only way for him was to get some momentum going, and he definitely got it for a little while, but yeah.
Yeah, this actually is what we're showing here. It would have been actually really much worse for Innovation if the other Raven had also been taken out, I think, but...
Yeah, he had two Ravens.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But instead there was a trade, basically, the Interference Matrix, and then that was... I mean, it's so darn close. And then there's more Hellion harassments went down.
We can show that for like 7 more times, by the way, because that was non-stop. I'm very, very, very impressed with how aggressive Special has been today and the pace that he's been doing it as well. It's just, I already saw it in the first few minutes when he played against MMA, just that little dance, you know, the non-stop activity with the Reaper and Hellion. Even if you get nothing done, it's annoying. It's like when somebody's try-harding, you know, when they're mining your minerals in the beginning of the game with a probe, where they're always work harassing you. It's like, come on, do you really have that much APM to spare?
Yes.
It seems like Special's got it today.
I remember always like seeing like the probe harassments or like the Reaper micro, and I'm like, what are you, Innovation?
Yeah. That's what you think at home. But today it really seems that Special is channeling his inner Innovation. Just awesome gameplay.
Yeah.
The Special succeeds here to take down MMA, then Innovation, making a tie between Mexico and Korean for this winners match. And I've been watching the Korean chat reaction because I'm really curious, and they're like, is Innovation was he sleeping just before the game, or is it MMA play instead of Innovation? And like, yeah, they're teasing, but I mean, so now Su is coming against Special.
Yeah. This is, I said it at the beginning of this game, I think this is the real test. TVT, that seems to be kind of like an understood agreement because it's a mirror matchup. You both know what you can do, you both know your capabilities, but I think in a TVZ, maybe there's a little bit of like, oh, Zerg's pretty good, like, I don't know, you kind of get tilted a little bit, and it's completely different, and Su is also, I think he's like just more in general, like in his okay form, whereas Innovation, there was that question of the slump.
Okay, so there will be a short break, and then we'll be back with Su against Special on Backwater. Hello everyone, and we are playing the winners match of Group South Korea, and we have a 2-2 situation here between Mexico and South Korea.
Yes, we knew it. We knew that, Special had it in him to take on, for sure, MMA. But then he does it against Innovation, and what a way did he do it.
Yeah, no, it was sick. Godspeed. That's what it was. All over the place. And I'm really happy that we get these games because, you know, obviously we can't control how games play out in StarCraft 2. And every now and then you cast a day of StarCraft and you're all like, yeah, not the greatest games, you know. Sorry, guys. Like, you know, we tried. But
it happens, you know.
I'm happy because you get 2 or 3 of those games and it just like picks up all the momentum. You're like, all right, let's get some StarCraft going in this. You know what?
We have a ZVT now, and we'll see if Major, Special, I've got a hard time calling him Special.
I don't think that on this broadcast anyone is going to mind if you call him Major.
That's right. But
you can call him Juanito. You can call him Papi. Everyone calls him Papi. It's all good.
Can he do it in TVZ against Su? That's one of the matchups where I would say, like, the question remains, does he have it in him? I knew in TVT he had the potential to do it. But now against Su, I think it's going to be even harder.
Who did Juanito lose to in Katowice? Do you remember?
That's a good question. I didn't follow that tournament quite precisely,
I don't
to be
remember.
honest.
I know he lost in the open bracket, but of course at WESG he did have that defeat against Raynor. It was a 3-0, but I do want to add, no matter how amazing Raynor was, like, I know my Juanito a little bit over the years, and that was not a Juanito tournament. Juanito needs to have his own little setup, needs a comfortable chair, a good desk, the same PC, the same settings for 3 days straight, play a lot, and that's when he really starts hitting his rhythm. Yeah. He likes everything to be the same. Obviously, right now he's playing from home, brings out his A game. WESG, sometimes he didn't have a practice PC, had to play on a different screen, sometimes 60, sometimes 144. That's not Juanito.
Yeah, no, definitely. But also we realized that Raynor was an amazing amazing player in the TVZ matchup, but we knew that Su is likewise an amazing player, probably one of the greatest Zerg to ever play StarCraft 2.
Against Su on backwater. I'm so excited.
Special versus Su. And in the top left is the last remaining hope for Korea before a potential revive. He is Su, the King of Kongs.
And on the right bottom side, a man that looks on fire today, representing Mexico. It's Special.
Hi, Papi.
Now, of course, I already mentioned a little bit before, we had a lot of high hopes and dreams of that semifinals that he played against. So this is a rematch, guys.
It is a rematch.
Of the semifinals of the WCS Global Finals of 2017. Of course, the tournament that Rogue ended up winning. But this was one of the semifinal matchups. We really thought it was going to be a close series. Special played great the day before against Elaser. But Su was just a little too much to handle. Special couldn't find any of his rhythm. Never found any damage. I remember even Tunneling Claw Roaches being all over the place as well. It wasn't his series, and I'm sure he would like to erase that memory at least a little bit and replace it with a more positive one and put Su in his place here on Backwater.
You know, back then, Roddy, it was a special situation. It was the semi-final of a tournament, and you know what Su does? He wins semi-finals, so he can better lose in the finals afterwards, which is kind of hard for him, but he is that kind of player, you know, like deep into the tournament. Now, we're still in group stage. Even if Korea were to lose, that would be quite bad for them because it would mean that it could only take second place, which is quite dangerous considering the level of the other teams. But it's also like the first time we will see Su in this tournament. We just want to see which kind of Su we see today. Like the dominant guy that will always go to the finals, or maybe a little bit shakier Su version today.
I mean, for me, Su is the ace at this moment in this team. And that's no disrespect to, of course, MMA, who was an absolute legend, and Innovation, who is arguably the greatest of all time. I'm actually totally okay if people say that. I was like, yeah, I can live with that. He has amazed me so many times over so many years. But I feel right now, Su is probably in the best shape of all these guys. Had a couple great runs lately as well. He's just been looking good. Of course, the semi-finals once again at the GSL. While the other two, you know, they were nowhere near finishing the top 4 in that tournament. So all eyes on Su for me, but I'm already super impressed with Special.
Yeah, already a pretty nice performance from the Mexican Terran. That Reaper Micro was on point. Now we'll see if he can delay the third hatchery a little bit later. Actually, it's you know, already a bruised drone that's been used by Su, so he needs to go back now that he sees the Reaper is here. But getting a hit on the Reaper means that the regeneration from this one will not be able to be used. So now he has to go back. Third hatchery is dropped down. We've got the Speedling upgrade that's about to finish. As we see the transition from Special with a starport, probably we'll start with a Viking. I'd be shocked if you wouldn't go for a Viking right there.
I think it's of course important to mention as well, we already did it once, that these games are being played on the Korean server, guys. There is no ping advantage for anybody. Special is currently in the Pro Gamer House in South Korea, and of course Su's in South Korea as well. I loved Su's room, by the way, in the interview. That was a clean, cool looking room.
Oh yeah.
Straight, you know, very streamlined in a way. I was like, yeah, I could sit there, play
streamlined like his macro, you know?
Yeah, solid.
Solid, solid as hell. But it's going to be a Manivac first. Interesting. Because we've got an Overlord that's poking at this natural, right? Like just on top of that. Yes, it's been shoot up for a little bit, but he knows that the starport is done. We'll see if he can dodge the Overlord. Looks like it, and we'll see it.
Okay,
we don't mind drop.
A double mind drop.
Switcheroo of the add-ons.
Okay, and he's going to show up at 4 Hellions as well. You know what would be the sickest thing ever? If he somehow drops the mine somewhere, all the drones are being pulled in one position. The 4 Hellions show up, 20 drones.
That'd be a sick start for Special, and that would start this. Well, this series would start to look a little bit grim for South Korea, but we're not here yet. Ooh. First, Widowmine will be dropped next to the eggs. It doesn't want to burrow it right now.
But now all the queens are out of position. He's using this as a distraction maneuver. I feel in a way. Of course, there are a couple of roaches so far. Su not losing anything. Where are those roaches? I feel like there was potential there, right?
Oh yeah, there was an opening for those Hellions. Still, there is a couple of Zerglings available to Sue, so those are obviously super fast, and we'll get there in a matter of seconds. Now we see some Roaches trying to cross the map and put on some pressure at the opposite side of the map. We'll have a tank. Let's try to not overreact on the side of Special. I don't know if that's an all-in yet.
I mean, Sue made a few more Roaches behind this, but he also made 5 Overlords. I don't think he's all in, but obviously Special has seen a few too many Terrans die against this, when way too many Roaches, Lings, Ravagers show up very early on. And I love this by Sue. He's morphing them into Ravagers as well, really giving Special the idea like, this is it, this is my one attack. Well, of course, we have all the information, guys. This is not his one attack, but it is absolutely supposed to achieve something, because it is a pretty serious investment by Sue.
Yeah, a couple of stuff that's happening there that is really interesting to me. First of all, that scan right away from Special. He wants to know if there is more drones on that third base. Now he knows that this attack is not completely all in, but at the same time going for that high number of Ravager. Well, that was close. Exploits the fact that the most important buildings are
Hellions?
Actually in the wall. So he abused that a little bit, destroyed the barracks, and now we see Special has to build 3 more. Can't use the reactor.
This is sick though by Sue. His creep is already spotting that medevac now, I believe. Can we take a look at that medevac real quick? Yes, I think it flew over. Overlord there and the creep as well. I don't see any units here, so maybe there is a little bit potential. Special is still distracting him with that silly Banshee, and that means that these Hellions will once again be successful, get 5 drones already and potentially a few more.
Yeah, maybe a last shot. That's an amazing one on the Zerglings, getting 4 of them at the same time as he tries to harass with the Raven and an auto turret. And once again, Special showing off his amazing multitask, even though right here you might question those Hellions not going back to the medevac.
Yeah, what was the HP on the medevac? Because maybe that was...
that's the reason.
That makes sense. There was a Queen chasing it down as well. I was about to say the same, and I was like, well, Juanita's been playing so well, there must be a reason.
Yeah, that's the thing. Every time I observe a game, I'm like, this guy's not microing. Well, that's my fault, because there's something else happening on the map. There is no reason that a player is not microing at just one particular location. So we'll see Bio from Special, adding on some Raxes, +1/+1 for the Bio units, Stim and Shields at the same time. And that's a cute Spire from Sue.
I mean, we saw a little bit of Spire play coming out early today. Special is playing Bio here, of course, by the way, important to mention. Every now and then you see him bust out Mech in this matchup as well. But it's a full-on Bio opening after he did do some pretty serious harassment. The Overlord, I mean, they're just looking at each other. It doesn't always have to be war in StarCraft. It can be peace as well.
Yeah, we mentioned it, I think it was 2 days ago. Well, nation wars in StarCraft can also be about love. And, just a, long-distance relationship between that medevac and that Overlord. At the same time, I need to mention something. Special is playing like TY, like we all should do when we play Terran. He's got 77 SCVs.
And he's still building them.
So, to me, it screams like a Special that will try to go maybe for a 2-2 timing, but can also play a decent, super long-ass macro game.
Isn't it important that he spots that Spire, though? Because I feel like if you don't get any mines, we saw that earlier today, it's possible, of course, if you just have a couple tanks as well, if you can keep your tanks alive, maybe throw in a Tor. But I still love to have a couple mines there. I feel like it makes it so much harder for the Zerg to engage, because they are forced to split, they're forced to engage carefully, and the longer it takes, often the better it is for Terran, because then you can do the good old bomber thing, where you put everything split across like 2 screens very carefully, and then you stim 3 Marines forward, and you're like, poke, you're it, and then the Zerg runs in, and you're all set up.
Yeah, the Thor that you wanted to see is now building on the side of Special, who has 11 Marines in every cycle of production that he had, which is a really good number. He added some more Raxes to the production facility on the side of Mexican Terran.
Drilling claws.
A couple of turrets, drilling claws. So we will see some Widow mines being added to the mix.
Yeah, I'm very happy to see drilling claws. I think that's an absolutely fantastic choice. And I think getting a couple of mines here is very useful. Special scans. Obviously, if the fight is good, the Army Special is quite a bit better right now. But 24 additional Bailings are being morphed. Sue is finding a little bit of opening. Special is going to show up with his Marines here, though. And I was hoping perhaps for Special that Su wasn't paying attention, but Su is always paying attention.
I'm not sure that's a good fight for Special, as the Medivacs will be intercepted by those Mutalisks, but the Zerglings and Banes, they will reach to the bio. Most of the tanks are already going down, and even though the missile will connect with most of the Zerg army, that's a pretty painful loss for Special right here.
I love how Su did all of this. Now the reinforcements show up. Maybe it's time to disengage. You're pretty far off creep. Yes, you got a lot of Banelings, but you're going up a ramp against all these Marines.
Oh, yeah.
And I actually think that Su overextended a little bit here.
Let's see. Roaches and Ravagers, they tank a little bit better, but he will lose a lot of his the remaining army, even losing all of his Mutalisks, which means no harassment capacity, no Medivac shutdown in the next few minutes. That was an overstatement for sure. And with the 2-2 upgrades finishing right there, as you show me, Roddy, that was, pretty much the anti-timing that you wanted to avoid.
You know what I love so much? What Su did before that battle. Because he starts harassing with these Mutas. He keeps being annoying, and then you pull the reinforcements that Special would normally have. You pull them to deal with the Mutas. Right at that point, when all the rally points are messed up and units are just standing around, he brings the Mutas back. He jumps on the army in the middle of the map. I thought that was all brilliant, but I think after killing the tanks and chasing the army away, he should have just been happy with the victory at that point and focus on something else and wait for those 2-2 upgrades to finish up.
Yeah, definitely. And now he has to reproduce a couple of Mutalisks to still have this force in the air. That's a fight distant for Terran because of the drilling claws connecting with most of the Ravagers, but this army should be taken down. The Mutalisks can't really fight by themselves. Nice missile here connecting with all the Mutalisks, and Su has to pull back for a bit.
A couple of links trying to pick up some reinforcements, but the mines will live to tell the tale. Whoa. These stores are getting mighty fine shots off. Good micro by Juanito, who saves both of them for now. Those bio units survive as well. And Su has no money for Ultras, so it's just Zerglings that have to do the job for now. Drilling close.
Oh, no. That was close from being a mighty connection for Terran on massive Zerglings.
Look at the bank of Special. Look at the bank of Special.
Oh, yeah.
He's producing a lot, but he can do even more. Now he fires up 3-3, and that's of course a great way to spend your money. It's producing a lot of Marines. Marauders taking a 5th base during all of this. Now there is an is there an Ultralisk Cavern down or not?
I don't think there is. He went for 3-3. He
no
went
money.
for Crackling, for the adrenal glands. So the Zerglings and Banelings will have massive opportunities to deal some damage next in this game. But for now, he needs those upgrades. He needs them, and he needs them right away. We'll see if he decides to go for Ultralisk. We see the Cavern being dropped down right now for Su. So
I feel there is a moment for Special to fight, though, before they truly show up.
Yes.
He's going to use a couple Medivacs to perhaps pull the army out of position a little bit, distract Su a little bit as well. Su shows a lot of Zerglings here to Special, as we see a little bit of a potential run-by as well. Oh. I do love how Su is doing this. He's all over the place. These are not links that you want in your base with 2-2 upgrades and Adreno almost finishing up.
Nice defense as we have a double drop going to the 3rd base of Su, and those Marines and Marauders with the 2-2 upgrades will actually pull the drones for a bit, dealing a couple of damage here, a couple of drone loss too in the end, but at least pulling the army away from Su. Has to defense.
But now we do have those 5 Ultras on the way, though. I feel like it's do or die at this point almost. Of course, Special can potentially deal with them. That's a pretty decent hit to start things off with. And he's going to get an easy cancel on this 6th base for Su already. But I do think that Su will be able to get a fight before his 5th go down with Ultras. And that's, of course, the fight that he wants. However, kindness plating is still quite a while off.
Yeah, about 30-40 seconds away, and he doesn't want to fight before that, obviously, against those. This army is actually going to engage with only Zerglings and Baneling. For now, the bio is being demolished, but Thors, they will remain alive, and those mines, they will connect quite a bit, but destroying tanks at the same time. Let's see if he can do it with reinforcements. Marines and Marauders on the east side as the Ultras show up, and now Su will push Special away. Let's see about the kiting from the Mexican player, though.
Yeah, there's no kindness plating yet, so technically these bio units can still do a little bit of damage. Su, you don't want to throw away your Ultras before kiting. This is 3 Ultras. Kindness is almost done, but now the links start showing up as well. What a bizarre game. Okay. Kindness finishes up. 2 Ultras go down before it, but these new Ultras, they're a lot harder to take down.
Oh yeah, they will be hard, and in 3 seconds there will be the 3-3 upgrades on both sides. Here an Ultra gets them blown up by 2 Widow Mines, and now you have to go back, Su. You have to recollect your army as soon as possible as 3-3 finishes on the side of Terran as well. He's got an amazing economy special that is, but he can't really finish up the game. But thankfully for him, he's got double Ghost Academy. He will start on producing those ghosts. He does have Cloak already, I believe, and we should see nukes at some point.
Yep, no, the first nuke is actually already on the production tab. What I love from Su is that he's got 83 drones and he's like, I need a few more. This is a game where we fight a lot, we trade a lot. If you want to play that game, I'm down for it. Look at these links go with adrenal glands and of course the ultras as well. That planetary just disappeared, but we do have 2 nukes on the way. Oh, I love it, Funka. This is StarCraft.
This is StarCraft, this is the TVZ that we like, that we love, and they're playing it at an amazing level right now. We've got 4 drones and 4 SCVs dying at the same time. Even Mapu, he has to gather all his energy to follow everything that's on the screen. Let's see if those 6 remaining Marines can do the job, but Zergling's already in position.
Links, mate.
So that's nice, that's perfect on his side. That's 3-3 Zerglings with adrenal glands.
I think that 3-3 links with adrenal glands should turn into like tiny ultralists. They should grow bigger or something, because they are so much stronger than you ever expect them to be. We're going to get some of that Liberator harass once again, which is nice, because obviously the Mutas have gone down, but there are Corruptors on the way. Yeah. I don't think we have a Great Aspire yet, is that correct?
I don't think that way. No. Yeah, the Great Aspire hasn't been researched, but as you said, he fired up 6 Corruptors to fight against that, so this base should be fine in a couple of seconds. Even this Medivac could be taken out, but the multitasking once again from Special as they're fighting in the middle of the map. That was a really great Widowmine to start up the fight, but he needs to evacuate. But that's 23 drones that he's losing right now. 25 now.
Yeah, I mean, still 60 drones immediately. Now he's harassing at 3 locations at once with Liberators. Drops in the main, drop in this base as well. Got 27 drones in total. Amazing play there by Special. But Su really on top of it as well, replacing them quickly, and he obviously had plenty of drones. And I think having 71 drones is actually very acceptable, because he doesn't have to invest in upgrades anymore. He doesn't have to invest in infrastructure anymore. So it's pure units, and then I actually think 71 drones in this phase in the game, I think is more than fine.
Yeah, let's see if he builds a little bit more. I think we've seen a couple in the production tab. We still have 2 goes, 2 nukes, sorry. As the pew-pews will rain down on the first Ultra. The first nuke has been used. Let's see if Stu realizes it as he gets double dropped in his third base. What a god, Special playing so fast. That nuke will land, and all the drones will go poof.
8 drones go down, the larva disappears, the hatchery takes a lot of damage, 16 more, another nuke gets fired up. Now Su's like, okay, that's enough, I've lost too many drones, I need 15 more. But the ghost count just keeps on going up. Another nuke will land. Unfortunately, the ghost kills itself with it. But it looked cool.
Okay, can he get those ghosts? No, they've got Cloak, and they are actually defending themselves quite well against the Zerglings with the
if he gets his hatch, the income is so bad. Pickup. Yep. That means that there's only one base that really has a lot of minerals left. I think even that pocket expand of Su must be starting to run dry. Even this base, the fort, I mean, that's not much. Yeah. Special scans it, he's like, okay, I mean, your income right now is in shambles.
Okay, we'll see Su trying to, actually say no to that 6-7 base from Special, trying to take this one on the south. Even the Queens are part of the party, part of the army here. But can he get anything done against those ghosts? There's a lot of them. We'll see the kiting back from the Mexican players. Banelings trying to reach the melee range, trying to take out a lot of Marauders. Ultra is on the, here are going to get blown up by all the snipes.
No detection. I mean, a lot of the Ultras just went down. Of course, a lot of the Bio went down as well. The harass just continues as Liberators, but all the Overseers got taken out, so these goals will go uncontested for now. Su somehow found it in him to squeeze out 4 or 5 more Ultras. No idea where he got the money from, but he's still in this one. Imagine if he had like 2 fungals in that fight. Like,
definitely. He needs some infestors to lock the army in place. Ultralisk will come from the side, try to do the wraparound around the bio. There's not that much energy on those ghosts. He needs to pull back for a moment, but Su doesn't really have any means to reach this army. He doesn't have the fungal to lock them in place. So those Ultralisks, they're just running away.
And there you do have the infested that we were both wondering about. Even though he doesn't have that much gas, he realizes that a fungal or 2 could really be game-changing, as these queens were trailing a little too far behind. Good transfuses, but in the end, all 3 queens will go down. These Ultras desperately want to get close. It's like, come on, let me give you one hug. But the Ghosts and Marauders don't want to get hugged.
Oh, he's actually going to nuke just only drones that are long distance mining in the north side. How many will it get? Probably 5, 6. Let's see how many. He canceled the nuke, actually.
Yeah, I think
you don't get it back, though. I don't really see the how interesting it was. Okay, that's a nice nuke pickoff. Good job, Mapu.
And this is the one mining base. This time the drones will get pulled. A couple drones just spawned. An unfortunate time to be born.
There's a nuke falling on your face right now.
Wrong place, wrong time.
Yep. Does he have another nuke? The ghost hasn't been scouted. Okay, it reveals itself. By trying to kill some more drones. That's 5 in total. 56 drones to the 64. And you mentioned earlier that Su scrapped down everything he had to get 4 more Ultras. That's not happening anymore. He doesn't have the numbers of drones to just pull that kind of units out of his hat. So he needs to build a little bit more drones, I believe. At least secure the base in the north side.
I mean, I think if he has the base, he's kind of fine. I think even 60 here is very acceptable. Because he simply doesn't have the bases to really split 60 drones over anyway. Unless he gets the right top side, then you could say maybe he needs a few more. But he's just broke because he's only truly mining of 12 o'clock at this point.
Bottom side, bottom left side, infestors. Are they alone? Okay, they're okay. He doesn't have burrow, right?
No.
That's an issue when you're playing that with that many infestors and just units in general in the late game. The burrow can be so important.
Maybe Su can get a base here, though. That would be pretty nice. The planet is not done yet. The ghosts are there on the right side. The overseers get sniped very quickly. At least one of them. Units being dropped there.
You don't want to drop your units down there, Special. The 4 medivacs they need to unload. They need to unload as fast as possible. 12 SCVs die. And in the middle of the map, a little bit of bio and some ghosts will get picked up for free.
Su is actually playing an insane game as well, because I think almost any Zerg would have just completely ran out of steam. But Su is finding it in him somehow to still turn this into a game. But this base is under a lot of fire. I don't think there's any queens to save it. The Lynx are going to try to save the day. But it's a little too late.
Not be enough. Yes, 13 SCVs in total.
Su needs
down.
extractors, man. He needs to take this gas as well, because he's running very low on gas at this point.
I believe a couple of minutes ago in the third base as well, he didn't have his gas. I don't know if he fixed that also. Third base. The other pocket expand.
The 40 also misses a gas.
Okay, he fixed that here, but he still needs a couple more extractors. Losing that hatchery obviously is going to hurt a bit.
I mean, at least he has infestors now, so I feel the dream is a little more alive. Su also taking the right top side. What an amazing game of StarCraft. Yeah. These guys is playing fantastic.
Yeah, and for now, I do think that Su is still in this game because he was able to say no to the 7th space in the south side, but at the moment, Special does get it for a couple of minutes. It's going to be tough. He will go for it once again.
Banes once again.
Massive EMP on the infestors, though.
Oh. But I mean, the planetary disappears, so maybe Su can just disengage.
He needs to disengage. I'm not sure about this fight. There's still a lot of energy remaining in those ghosts, but they're not sniping for now. They're trying to get every single overseer at the ghosts. They need to pull back, but there's a couple of Widowmine in the top, ready to fire, and that was a terrible fight in the end for Su. I think Special has done it, Roddy.
Yep, he's getting a lot of damage done. GG. Special wins an absolutely amazing game on Backwater, landing a super clutch EMP in the final engagement of that game that felt like 14 minutes of non-stop fighting, as Special takes down 3 members of Team South Korea in a row.
Special is in the form of his life. He's playing amazing. That last TVZ was just, well, what do you expect of Special? But usually when it does reach
still standing.
Oh yeah, that's right. When it does reach that point in the games, sometimes you will see Special getting, that massive fungal onto his army, and then I remember like a couple of games against Snoot back then. I think it was in Nation Wars 4, where he used to lose in that late game situation. Here, he's playing against Su, one of the greatest guys to ever play this game as Zerg, and especially in the late game, in the macro stages of the game, and it was just too much for Su.
This game was just amazing, right? It was so back and forth. I definitely think Su had a lot of shining moments as well, considering some of the harassment that went down, some of the damage that he took. This was one of those key moments that we went on. This could normally decide a game. I don't think it decided the game in the end because so much happened. They fought for 12 minutes after this.
Yeah.
But this was perhaps a little bit of overcommitment, especially when his 2-2 upgrades would have finished up right after that. And going up a ramp is always tough, but I mean, this is just one of these games where we had a lot of amazing engagement, a lot of clutch moments as well, but I really think Special's harassment today is out of this world. It's better than I've ever seen him harass. He's really good in controlling the economies. Nobody has been able to build up a 2k bank and maxing out against Special. He just keeps killing workers. Whether it's Terran or Zerg, he just keeps shutting those economies down while going almost uncontested. Eventually he ended up losing a couple planetaries here, but Just amazing pace again by Special.
Yeah, amazing plays from Special indeed. I'm really surprised. Like, I know is a great player of late game, and especially these days as he's being super aggressive with the way he expands, you know, right? Like going to 6 spaces on this map while keeping on harassing.
This was sick. The triple harass.
This moment.
He killed 27 drones there or something.
And it switched everything because we were looking at a Zerg that was on 85 drones, doing super well for himself with a lot of bases, and you can see the number keeps on rising in the bottom left, sorry, 27 drones. And he kept on doing it. Yeah. He deprived Su from his 6 space, this space, and the other one on the right side with nukes, with drops.
I think the recaps of this game are longer than some of the games we had in Nationwide so far. And that says enough about how awesome this game was. I mean, this fight was also clutch. You can see these Bailings. He's splitting the ghosts quite well as well. He's kind of pulling them back one by one, always sniping those overseers, just making it impossible. And then all you hear is pew, 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 pew. They should change that sound effect. I know it's cool in a way, but it's very powerful and it sounds like a funny animation, you know? Like, it doesn't sound as powerful as it is.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. I mean, it's crazy because...
Where's that EMP?
Yeah, that's here,
Oof.
right there. And the top.
Yeah, gets all 4. I mean,
this is so important.
That changes almost everything, right? Otherwise, if you land a couple fungals, I'm not saying that he wins the fight, but if he gets the planetary, it makes it harder for Special. Now it almost felt like he was forced to take the fight, even though he didn't really want.
Yeah, see, well, you mentioned it, like at the moment the EMP lands on the infestors, all the ghosts are really clumped up. And at this moment, I do believe that if you have Borrow, of course, you still need to be on top of your infestor. You imagine that those infestors go unnoticed as well, which is, you know, you're always like scanning ahead as Terran in TVZ. But if he does get, like, if you replace the EMP by a massive fungal on every single ghost, we could be waiting for the revive of Mexico and not South Korea.
What do you think? I think Su. I think Su's angry.
I think Su as well. Yeah. I also do think Su.
It was an intense game, but I believe that Su probably wants his revenge. We don't know the map. I mean, we could have known it, but...
we're too hyped up.
It's Innovation. Okay, so which maps do we have left? We have played Acid Plant, we played Catalyst, we played Backwater. Have we seen Eastwatch in this? I don't think we've seen Eastwatch here, right? And I don't think definitely haven't seen a Biogenesis.
Yes. Which is our next map, guys.
Yes, so, it's a bio?
Yeah.
Oh.
It is. It is. I spilled the beans. He told me.
No, that's fine. I mean, we should have known anyway, but a lot of things happen.
So is that the only reason that Su doesn't go on it? It's like, nah, I don't want to play ZVT on this map.
Could also be that Inno just wants to show all these nerds out there that say that he's out of shape. He's like, I'll show you.
I dropped a game, guys.
Yes. Yeah. Sorry that I'm a human being after all. I know you guys think I'm a robot, but I'm not.
We'll see.
I hope you guys believe it.
Decided on a TVT, and I do believe that if Innovation is able to take that map, we'll see that best of 3 between those 2 players, obviously, with Major Special being revived on the side of Mexico.
Ooh, Special trying to do what Marine Lord once upon a time did in the finals of Nation Wars, and that is all kill South Korea. Those are not words that we normally say very often. Here we go for Game 6 of this awesome Nation War. That really kind of saved my day, Funka, because my StarCraft heart was kind of bleeding. I was like, the game is not living up to my expectations today. But it's all better now. Over here on the right bottom side, we're looking at the main base of one of the best players of all time. It's Innovation.
You know, late game TVZ is always what you need to put a smile on your face when you're a StarCraft 2 fan. But TVT, not too bad either, and especially when the opponent of Innovation is that guy in the top left, representing Mexico on the verge of all killing South Korea. It is Special. All right, so both players will open quite the same mirror builds on those 2 players. Obviously on Abiogenesis, you're not waiting for a fast expand. You will go for those double refineries to get more gas going for yourself, because most of this game and most of the TVTs on this map will be decided by the early game. You need to have units in place to just defend against the potential aggression of your opponent, and considering the map is so small, well, obviously you want to go for that strategy. None of those players will drop down a CC. They will go for the factory right away. and we'll wait on the potential derivation they will have between, what they do with their starport. They go for a Raven, a Medivac, a Viking, or whatsoever.
I want to correct myself, by the way. Special did make it out of the open bracket of Intel Extreme Masters Katowice, but he was in the group with all the Terrans and Endear and Showtime. And the group performance was, not what we expected. He went 1-4 in the end. Now, obviously, we expect more of someone like Special if he plays 5 S2-3s, no matter the opposition. And then, of course, like I mentioned, WSG wasn't really his tournament, but those conditions, I know my Juanito, that wasn't it. But before that, obviously, he had a good start to the year. Leipzig was good, Pyeongchang was good. And so far, nation-wise, looks absolutely fantastic for Special.
Yeah, imagine if he starts with a bang right there. With an
it's already a bang. I don't care what happens.
You're right. Yeah. But it would be a sad bang if it was a 4-3 in the end in favor of
it'd still be a loud bang.
A loud?
Yeah, it's still a loud bang.
Okay.
Come on, he took 3 maps in a row against an MMA that's on fire, against an Innovation that actually played really good, and against Soon, an amazing game.
Oh.
If he, I don't care, he can lose the next 2 games in 3 minutes. It was still a loud bang.
Okay, agreed with that. Let's see. Special tries to go up the ramp, but actually loses his Hellion in first, but he will get a Reaper. Maybe he gets the second one. He will get a second one.
Ah, that's in the end a pretty decent trade
and
there.
And even the mine connecting with the Hellions.
Risky. He's going to end up losing the Reaper. But
he'll win this battle.
Yep. I mean, so in the end, he comes out advantage.
I thought it was a Reaper mine just next to it with the tiny flowers. Like, why is it not blowing? Like, what the hell?
All that hype for nothing, as in the end they both trade out the units and the game moves on. Both players have a Cyclone, but Innovation does have a Reactor on his factory, so he's able to produce 2 Cyclones at a time. Meanwhile, Special is adding a Starport to his factory already. Probably going straight for tanks, right? If you don't make a tank here, it's almost suicidal.
This is suicidal. It is. Well, we'll see. Like, maybe he goes for a Raven,
and then a tank.
And then a tank or something like that.
Yeah.
But I do agree with you. Like, considering how Innovation plays, and in case you guys don't know, in TVT, he likes his Cyclones, as we have a tiny bit of lag. But yeah, he likes his Cyclones. He really does. And he usually opens with the Reactor Cyclone. So if you go for something without that Reactor Cyclone and you go for something super tech-heavy, you can be in a lot of trouble, especially on Abiogenesis.
Yep, 5 Cyclones will be out soon for Innovation, who scouts. He spots the bunker, spots a single Cyclone there. Obviously, that doesn't tell him everything that he needs to know, but he may be thinking right now, throws down the scan, sees no reactor, sees 1 Cyclone pop. Once again, it doesn't tell him everything. At the same time, Special scouts as well. Innovation shows 3 Cyclones, and now he's going to show the other 2 as well. So it's a 5 Cyclone party for Innovation.
Okay.
What is Special doing?
Yeah, I'm wondering about. He wants to take the ramp, I think.
That's okay.
So even though you don't have the numbers of Cyclone,
high ground.
It might be tough though, because
it's ballsy.
Innovation is already there. 2 Cyclones and a couple of Marines, but the first Cyclone will blow up instantly, and the Raven will be here to help out. I think it was a big decision in the end for Special.
Well, it is, but imagine if all 5 Cyclones are in a little ball and they move all together and they move forward. We went over this yesterday. Sometimes it's better not to micro. You just got to shove your units in, because I actually think if all 5 Cyclones are together there and he moves them forward in a ball, I think there's a very good chance that he wins that fight.
Okay. Playing a little bit dangerous, a little bit greedy. Special that is here with that Raven opening, but now has a tank, so should be okay with the transition that will come from Innovation, or at least the potential pushes. But speaking of transition, both players will go into the bio state of the TVT. So interestingly enough, we'll see Marine tank on both sides.
I think Innovation got his driver's license. You see that parallel parking?
That was amazing.
Yeah, that was good. Today I walk on the streets and there is a little car, like, just a 2-seater trying to do some parallel parking, and there is a van behind it, just like casual. I'm just looking at it, I was like, oh my god. And the woman didn't care at all, didn't step out, she just does it again. It's like it does another attempt, and she's like, oh, pretty good effort today, and steps out of her car, walks away. I'm like, oh my god, these people.
Well, at least it was a tiny car, didn't it?
Yeah, no, it was just two like
hurt the van
it was 2
much,
bumpers going into each other, too, like how do you say that? What's fabric? Just like these plastic bumpers. So it was not like somebody crashed the Lambo, but I was still like, all right, you just casually drove into that van. Okay,
easy peasy. Okay, both players in the bio state with lots of Medivacs going Special's way. Innovation doing the same, but they cut on the factory production for now. No tanks for the moment. And only 1 eBay on either side, I think. Yeah, no, 2 eBays, sorry, on the side of innovation.
Oh, poor Funka, guys. If you guys were wondering, what did he just do? Our TV screen went off for a split second, so we actually had no vision. That's why Funka couldn't see the amount of eBays that were actually on your screen. All right, I feel like this game is about to really kick off. We had a couple quick skirmishes. Of course, in the end, I like this for Special because he didn't invest in all these Cyclones and he survived that phase. So he got into everything that you truly want to get into later on as well. But this is where things get a little bit awkward. Both armies are dancing around the map. Special has no idea about this double drop that's heading to his main. But Innovation has no idea about the entire army of Special heading to his main.
Yeah, Innovation could lose his third base. I see it will take a lot of economy. Actually, Special goes for the throat.
Maybe
he wants
go for
to
the
go
main.
on the production, and that's what he will do. He scans. He sees only one tank. He doesn't have the time to raise the depot. And Special, this is so smart from him. He will block everything as the production is in a little bit of trouble at the opposite side of the map as well.
The Cyclones start showing up as well, so a lot of SCVs are going to go down here for Special as well, if not all of them. But the army of Special is a little bit stronger. If this is a full-on base rate, I think I prefer the army of Special over the army of Innovation.
Okay, we'll see. Is there any units that will come out of those factory or barracks? Maybe he gets one tank on the right side, top right side. If he does get one tank, maybe even a shot would make a difference. But at least it is a full-on base rate, as you said. 58 supply to the 79. The CC died in the main base for Innovation.
Yeah, Innovation does have 1-1 upgrades. I mean, that's kind of cute. Raven dropping the interference matrix, and this tank is going to get picked up in the end. These SCVs are going to try to get a kill. No, he's going to pick up. That's nice, actually. I mean, it buys time, right? It's a little bit of buffer.
Oh, yeah.
If this turns into a full-on base rate, these SCVs are going to try to do the same.
He needs to kill the star pots. Did he cancel the star? Oh, yeah, okay. He killed the star pots. So no
One more
Liberator.
tank. Look at the tank.
Tank, just shoot once.
The tank.
Get a Marine.
Yes,
a second Marine.
2, 3
Marines!
All right.
What a legend! All right. 30 army supply to the 28. We're looking at 2 Medivacs on the side of Special and 4 for Innovation with more upgrades.
Inno's building barracks is on the left bottom side, right? Is that what he's doing? Okay. Does he have a CC? Yes.
No depots on the side of Innovation, though.
He can
Special
he has money.
Marine.
Yeah, he's money.
Yeah, he has money, but he has 1 Marine. Well, he has 3 supply available.
It takes a little while. All right, so this command center scout or Special could actually be pretty massive because it's going to find these barracks, and that should be a good indicator that this command center is there as well. Special is pumping out a couple of Marines. The Cyclone is trying to pick them off. No, you don't want to lose a Marine.
Okay.
Every Marine counts.
Matrix.
All life matters.
Oh! So close. Okay.
No.
Cyclone will be saved in the end.
He's going to drop a mule, repair it, and pick off reinforcements.
That'd be so sick. Is there any units that's coming out of the star pots? Top right?
Production?
Okay, no.
Production?
I think production tab is
It's just 3 and 3 Marines.
No shields on the Innovation side. He's got shields. Special, that is. That's a massive missile. Innovation has to run away. And for Mexico, this is such an amazing opportunity for him to take on the production.
Units. He's going to pull the SCVs as well. There's a tank in the mix. But
there's 2 tanks. Oh, he will go for it. Oh, my God. Is it going to be enough? The missile will connect once again. The Marines with +1/+1. This is so tough. This is such a tough goal. The Medivacs doing their job. But 1 more Marine.
The anti-armor missile.
The army. 27-21.
It's 3 SCVs against 2, but more Marines are popping here. Every second that goes by feels like...
snowball now.
Yeah, he needs to cancel that barracks, I think. He doesn't have the money for it anyway, so he can cancel that. I think with the amount of medifacts, I think Innovation can do it.
Yes.
Don't forget that he has +1 armor. This is an upgrade. Ooh, that Special does not have.
Okay, 1 more Medivac in the army from Special. With the starpot, he was able to build it. It's 14 Marines to the 13 with 4 Medivacs. He needs to target down individual Marines. That's what he needs to do on this fight. Special with combat shields against an Innovation that doesn't have them. But he's mining. Special's mining.
4 Medivacs. Well, I mean, with a couple of SCVs, you're right.
And a couple of mules as well.
Is it 2 orbitals? Yes, okay. Special actually severely outmining Innovation there. I didn't realize he still had the main base as well. So this is obviously all very, very good for Special, who's got obviously the healthier mix as well. He's even getting his +1 armor now, by the way, on that eBay.
Roddy.
Yeah, I think
Special needs to wait now. He has the opportunity. If he gets +1 armor, that's not an upgrade.
Combat shield.
That's something. A combat shield will make a difference, and that's really good that Innovation realizes that. But +1 armor, 1 more tank, you will start to siege. He doesn't have to go that fast anymore.
And it's 2, obviously double Mew against single Mew is massive. And now there is a tank in the mix. as well. And that's going to make it so awkward for these Marines. Is he going to sit forward? He kind of does. Okay, Innovation.
That's going to be tough. The micro
my goodness, Innovation.
He will actually breach.
What?
I think Special went too early in this fight. I can't believe he took down this army. The 4 medivacs are actually making a tremendous difference. And the micro from Innovation, splitting every single Marine. I can't believe.
Upper ramp against the tank as well. Innovation, not even up in numbers. 1 base against 2. Now has a decent Marine advantage. But fighting on the side of Special is obviously going to be a little bit harder. There's still the Cyclone as well. Innovation scouts. He wants to see that army. Stinsworth loses a medevac.
Oh my god, this game is so tense. It looks like Warcraft 3. Every single Marine counts in this one.
Combat Shield
will finish in 20 seconds. And Special mine gas is not mining gas, so it will not get another tank.
2 mules against 1, though. It just feels so tough. Maybe Innovation should drop them, eh? I don't know. I mean,
that's a good idea. I actually do believe that would be a really, really cool call.
He's like, I can't lose my scouting Marine. No.
Okay, he baits 4 Marines.
You matter.
He baits most of the army as he's going the other way.
Okay, and now he's going to go for that right top side, but there's only Marines there.
Look at this. It's like steaming a Marine. It's like, no, but every single production building is here.
Yeah.
And I think every single barracks will fall. 1 barracks falls.
Second barracks takes a lot of damage. It's burning and it goes down as well. In the end, he lost a couple of Marines in the process, though. Needs to stim again, loses a few more. Okay, do you evacuate with the medivacs? Do you use the boost? 1 more barracks in the production tab, and now he's got a little bit more gas going his way. Does he go for a tank? What if Special would make a Liberator? And he would put it behind the mineral line in the left bottom side? Shall we see? I don't think there's a position where you can be safe from Marines. That's the problem. 24 Marines. Like, Innovation is just building Marines, which is a really smart idea in this one. So Special goes for a tank. Yeah. I mean, tanks are amazing, but... What? I like it for Special, though, that he goes for a tank, but it's... All right. He's going to lose that barracks, though. He has a Marine number 0. What? Ooh, I thought a medevac went down there for a second. He almost messed up on this one. Where's the other medevac? Did he lose 2 medevacs before? He might lose everything. He might lose everything. Oh my god. Oh my goodness, that's it. Loses everything. 9 Marines and 2 medivacs at the same time. Special. He's still here in this game. I can't believe 33 army supplies to the 28, and there's 1 tank that's out now. The tank is out. Still 2 orbitals against 1. Innovation had some miraculous fights, but losing those 9 Marines, he's going to be forced to take this fight again. Can Innovation make magic happen one more time? Okay, it's going to be close. The targeting all the Marines are super low on the side of Special. He doesn't have the DPS to kill the Marines, but 2 more will show up. One of the most bizarre games of StarCraft 2 ever. But Special now with those 2 orbitals, with the medevac advantage as well, with the tank advantage. I think that Special is actually finally doing it. I think he's getting the job done. And I think that our Mexican Terran is going to all kill South Korea here in their opening match. Or the winner brackets match. Oh yeah, it looks like it. Mexico could be the first to qualify to the round of 8 in this Group Korea. This so-called Group Korea. It should be Group Mexico or Group Special, because for now he is playing amazingly. He's building more production facilities. 31 SCVs. He went down to what, like 4? 5, and now he's back to 31 with that double orbital working so well for him. Oh my goodness, Innovation was absolutely making magic happen, but losing those double medevacs, those 9 Marines as well. Now Special scouts, and he's like, okay, you've got a little bit of economy, I see. That's cute, but you know, I've still got 2 orbitals. That Marine is going to get 1 SCV there, and that's about it. Oh, what a game. In a bizarre scenario, if this game doesn't end, then we still have double eBay and an armory in the bottom right. So if he does get 2-2, that would be a massive difference. But I don't really see it happening. But the thing is, like, Special might be scared. Like, last time he tried to attack towards its bottom left base, well, he threw away a lot of his army. But he doesn't have enough Marines. The medevac count right now, the tank count, the SCV count, like, everything is in favor of Special at this point. Like, I know Innovation is an absolute legend. I mean, Innovation does still have more Marines, actually. Special, that's the thing. Special should just wait for like a split second. He's producing 5 Marines at a time. He's catching up real quick. He's got the medevacs. I mean, unless he would take a fight with like 17 Marines against 35, there's just no way that he loses. Yeah, well, you can, like, if you go a little bit too early, you can throw a game like this 5 to mostly Marines. But now, yeah, of course, now that the army gathers with everything at the same place, the number of Marines is looking better and better for Special. He's going to leapfrog his tanks to go close to the base. But kudos to Innovation. He's actually building 2 medivacs right now. Yeah, I mean, that obviously gives him hope. I mean, with 2 extra medivacs, I really thought Special had this game in the bag after it really felt like it was a last-ditch effort. Now there is a Liberator on the way, by the way. Of course, Special having that tank advantage. He sees he got pulling
the SCVs. Go for now. He needs to break the content. Can it work for Korea and Innovation? Most of the Marines are dying. The tanks are not doing the job. Is he actually doing it? He's doing it. Right. He will defend against it. It will cost him 13 SCVs. But he got everything. I can't believe he just refuses to die.
And now he's chasing down all these medevacts. Special tries on his scan. He's like, is that one base? There is no way. Oh, that tank is not seized up yet. Okay, there's high ground. I mean, Special, he's very low on the Marines. Special cannot afford to take another fight where he loses Marines. Oh.
If he loses one more fight like this, he's going to lose this game. This massive Marine count is actually working so well from Innovation, microwing like a god. But he can't take any shot from those tanks. The first one was massive, right after the stim, getting every single Marine out of there.
I mean, Special's producing 5 Marines at a time, getting another medevac. Where's that Liberator that we saw? What happened to the Liberator? All right, it's heading towards that mineral line.
I'm pretty sure he forgot
is on siege. The Marines going for those production facilities once again.
Oh, look at this, like the precision of the positioning of Innovation. Look at it. He's dancing with the line where tanks will be able to fire, will be able to shoot. But now tries to get a tank. Nice micro, picking up that tank in the medevac. This is such a sick game, but now he's losing medivacs. He's losing medivacs. Innovation on the opposite side of the map, and Liberator getting everything. GG. Special all kills.
Special all kills South Korea in 4 absolutely amazing games by him. Special's had a lot of good showings over the years, but I've rarely been as impressed as we are still in the dark, and let there be light. Mexico wins Group South Korea after perhaps the best Special that I've ever seen. Unreal.
It was so good on the side of Special. Everything from his crisis management to his TVZ matchup, his TVT normal, like quote-unquote normal game, onto this amazingly tense and hard game to beat. It started with this 7 minutes and 30 seconds into the game. Base trade scenario. Slightly better army on the side of Special, but worse upgrades. And then, well, it was all madness from this point, right?
I don't even know what happened in this game. So many things went down. Innovation having that upgrade advantage for a while. Both players squeezing out Marines one by one after this full-on base trade. The SCVs being pulled. Innovation with miraculous hold after miraculous hold. I mean, this was sick at this point. You look at it, it's like, there's no way, Innovation. You're down 14 supply. This is no way, but what a game. What a game.
And the fact that he pulled the SCVs every time and just, you know, relying mostly on Marines, which was a pretty smart call, because there was never the actual number of tanks without any upgrades as well on the tanks. There was never like the actual number for the tanks to just blow up every single Marine. Every time he's in a perfect position, and that's the moment he will be able to raise the clip. As you can see, a couple of Marines will get brought towards the tanks to avoid a little bit too much AoE.
I can't believe that he was able to hang in that double orbit. This was
after
obviously
that as well.
Yeah, I mean, I felt if that wouldn't have happened, it was Innovation's game. I actually really like Innovation's position up to this point. And at this point, he made it so damn scary as... I don't even know, Funka. This game was just madness.
Well, when you think about StarCraft, you think about, you know, massive amounts of units where, you know, like, you know, quick targeting of individual units or you know, or DPS versus the healing power of a medivac doesn't really happen that much.
That hold was unreal as well.
It was so great. I mean, it cost him most of his economy, which is the reason that he will have to tap out after that. But he made it so close. He made it so close. Your breath is taken away as well, I'm pretty sure.
I'm trying to keep the smile though, but inside I'm dying. But it's okay, it's not over yet, because tomorrow there's a lower bracket. And congratulations to Mexico making it to the quarterfinals. They are the 3rd nation joining Italy and Norway. So Special has been amazing here.
Yeah, I mean, that's an understatement. Amazing. Yeah. Like, we can throw out all the words. Fantastic. I would almost go to say legendary. I mean, he's in Korea. These games are being played on the Korean server. And of course, you can say it's very late in Korea, but Special's in Korea as well. It's late for him too. The games were not ugly. Like, sometimes, you know, somebody wins 4 games in a row, and you look at it, it's like, that game was kind of meh, build order advantage, a little bit lucky there. But Amazing back and forth action. The game on backwater against Su, I absolutely loved it. The harassment against Inno on Acid Plant, killing 82 SCVs. Then that final game against Inno, special.
It's just perfect.
But you know what? Even if I'm a little bit disappointed, of course, but it's not over yet. And I think it's a good thing for Team Korea because I've been talking a lot with them, and Innovation looked like overconfident. But I think today's series, it's just like an alarm for them, and so they will, I hope, to practice harder and to be better and to show us their real performances.
Perhaps a humbling experience indeed, even for those legends that are on the Korean team.
Yeah, it's crazy.
We got a couple of tweets coming in as well. Hopefully you guys enjoyed those games as much as we did, because I mean we were losing it. Like we're standing here like we almost destroyed the desk twice. Like everything is shaking and stuff. It's just
you killed 3 Marines.
I was just rolling on the floor. And
it was like the fact that we've seen Su versus Special, and right away after that, Special against Innovation.
Those are 2 games that you'll remember for a very long time. That you'll be like that. I mean, especially this. You know, it's so funny, right? Because everybody likes to kind of take a crap or take a dump on the Biogenesis, but the games it produces is just insane. Like it's a map that nobody likes to play, but when they have to play it, it often produces absolute magic.
I know that was really great from Special. I'm just in awe in how good he played today, and he kept it going game after game, as we said. Rather late for both players, but it's just amazing. And that's the second time in 2 editions that Korea will not take the first place in their group. Last year they lost against Canada. Canada was first seed of their group, and that's the second time.
Was that when Semper took out Zest on Echo?
On Echo. Really great game.
Yeah, so that was Semper taking it to the next level as well. Damn. These Terrans, these NA Terrans in Nationwide, of course the Europeans as well in the past with Marine Lord. Oh man, what a way to say. I really feel that Special saved my day. I'm going to go out there, and it's not because I wanted them to win. I just wanted to have some really good games. And in the beginning, it felt like, oh man, this is just not our broadcast. This is like nothing's going our way. And then you get this. What a great way to end.
Thank you guys.
And now we're going to interview the winner team, and we have Jim Rising.
Everybody?
No, we only have Jim Rising
come
here
on,
with
Special.
us.
Get a freaking cell phone already.
And it's not ready yet, but it's okay. Yeah, I hope Special was here to congratulate him.
This is your moment. There is a house with 9 pro gamers there and a cat, I'm sure. Like, none of those guys can get whatever we need. FaceTime, Skype, whatever we use these days, Discord.
Well, it's late. I guess he wants to sleep.
I played like a god. I go to bed.
No one can sleep after games like that. No.
Right.
You're full of adrenaline at this point. Even if you're a veteran like Special, there is 0 chance he's going to go to bed. Right now, he's like celebrating it with whoever else is awake. He's going to watch the replays. He should fire up the stream, analyze them as well. There's no way you can sleep after those games.
Roddy even gives you like advice on how to build your stream as you're being a baller in Nationwide. What a legend! What a legend! But yeah, if you guys can make Special appear in the interview, that'd be great. Or else we'll talk to Jim Rising, obviously, and he's already there.
Hello, hola there, felicidades.
Hello. Thank you. It was a very surprise, to be honest. Special did amazing job.
Oh yeah. Well, you said it. I think in the post-game interview in the first game, you said that Special was in the best shape of his life, and I think he proved it today. Like in every single matchup, played like super amazing games, scrappy games, but also macro game. Like, how far can you go with Special in that form?
Okay. First, we had a little conversation before his matchups. We told him take it easy, Juan. We have another chance tomorrow, so don't rush yourself. I know you can do an all kill, but don't rush yourself. And when I saw he beat in Innovation the first time, I was like, oh wow, actually we can do it. He can do it, and I don't know how Special is preparing, to be honest, but he's practicing a lot, and he is in his best form.
I was surprised to hear that statement before, saying like this is the best Special, because Special did have a good start of the year. You know, Leipzig, he had a good performance, and of course in Korea with Pyeongchang, the IEM. But after that, you know, things didn't really go his way in the GSL qualifiers, where he did qualify in the past. He didn't make it this time. So when you made that statement, I was surprised. But I mean, the games were just fantastic. How did you experience those games? I mean, come on, it must have been epic for you as well, right?
I was pretty sad the first game when he was playing MMA. Me and Chan were like, "Oh, we are 2-0 behind. This is over, right?" And I told you already when we realized he beat Innovation the first time, our mind changed, and we were like, "Go, Juan, you can, you have this."
And what about that Sue versus special game? Like, how did you experience it? It went super far and crazy in this game as well.
Yeah, when I saw the Mudas and Juan making +1 armor and Thors, I was like, okay, he's in a good spot. I think he could win pretty easily. Mm-hmm. But then the game started to turn pretty difficult for him. Mm-hmm. Ultras are pretty strong. But when I saw the match with Ghost and Liberators and some units here killing drones, I was like, okay, I think it's over. Yeah.
I mean, you've obviously known Special for a super long time, and I'm sure you've casted him a lot and obviously played a lot against him as well. But I truly feel that his harass today was on a whole nother level. Like, how did you see it? I mean, the harass against MMA, the game against Innovation on Acid Plant, and even against Sue, it just seemed like it felt like he's playing Archon mode, and I don't know who Zella is, but it could have been Maru, you know? Like, how was it for you to watch that?
He has been a multitask beast this entire StarCraft life since Brood War, right? Mm-hmm. He has a story there, and his multitask, I think it's his best weapon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah. All right. So now you guys are qualified. You're in the round of 8.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's impressive. I can't even. Yeah, I can figure it out. How? Yeah, I don't know.
Suddenly started to sink in. It's like, yeah, we're actually in the quarterfinals now.
That's right. We're one step away from Paris. You know, you guys could come back.
This is something
to Paris.
similar, like Marine Lord. When he did an all kill to Korea, it's so similar. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty happy for Special and for Mexico for sure.
So you qualified in Seed 1 in this group, and I'd like to hear your predictions about other groups. So next week we're gonna play Group Poland and Group USA. Yeah. So you're gonna be facing a Seed 2. So for example, Group Poland, there is Poland, Ukraine, Finland, and Brazil. Could you expect?
Qualifying for with Seed 1, it's so good because there are a lot of good countries. So it's our best chance. I don't know which group it's or
is better for you guys.
I don't know if we have to play Group China, Group Poland, or Group USA.
It's random.
It's not decided yet.
It's random.
You can't just play this.
We have a good chance with Seed 1 to qualify to semifinals. We have our God carrying us. So yeah.
I mean, Norway is a potential opponent. There's obviously there's a 33% chance that you'll get Norway. How do you think you'll do against them?
I think it will be fine because it's their best player is Snoot, right? So I think with CBC we have more chances.
Okay.
Because it's kinda explosive. You know, you can force a fight with Bailings and you can have some luck.
And I think what Hajin wanted you to ask was, like, he wants you to make a prediction. Like, I know I forgot that group, but I want you to make a prediction about my group first. Group USA, Germany, Sweden, and the Netherlands. Who do you think wins, and who do you think is going to be the runner-up in that group?
Okay. Poland, I think...
No. Not Poland. It's
okay.
USA, Netherlands, Germany, and Sweden.
Okay, just that group. Sorry, I'm Cirque. Sorry.
It's okay. No problem.
I think first place Netherlands and second place Germany. Yeah.
So we could have maybe a semi-final encounter between Mexico and the Netherlands. Yeah. You guys can finally get a revenge for the World Cup.
Oh, this is mean.
No, we've been joking a lot about that.
Okay, so any last words for your fans who are cheering for you?
Go in Spanish. Tell us something in Spanish.
Muchas gracias a todos los que nos apoyan. Tenemos a uno de los mejores jugadores del mundo, Juan. Gracias por ser mexicano. Y bueno, vamos a intentar hacer un mejor papel, Chami y yo, para no dejarle toda la carga a Juan. Muchas gracias por estar apoyando y nos vemos la siguiente fecha de Nation Wars.
Okay, muchas gracias para el interview and Forza Juan, and congratulations. See you next week in the quarterfinals. No.
See ya.
Bye.
What a champ.
Yeah. I mean, sad, of course, that we couldn't hear from Juanito himself, but it's good to see Jim Rising being very happy. And I love that moment. Hyped. I love that moment when he suddenly realized he's like, we're actually in the quarterfinals already. This wasn't just cool StarCraft. This means that we are now qualified for the quarterfinals, and we are one series away from making it to Paris. Not the day that we predicted, not the day that I felt we had coming either 2 hours ago, but damn, what a way to wrap it all up.
Oh yeah, that's great. With Mexico taking the victory against South Korea, qualified.
He didn't even need his second life, by the way.
Crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, and tomorrow we're going to play the lower bracket. So the first series of tomorrow is going to be United Kingdom against Chinese Taipei, and the winner will face Korea to take the second spot of this group for the quarterfinals.
Yep. And that's going to be another long day for South Korea. We'll have to wait the second game to maybe qualify against either UK or Chinese Taipei. That guess there's an opportunity for those guys to, shake the South Korean lineup a little bit.
I don't think they're too happy to see this, though.
Yeah, well, they rather have faced Mexico probably on paper, but I'm not even sure that's,
I mean, normally they all expect that South Korea wins this group, and they're like, all right, so we got to take out Mexico. And now suddenly, like, even if UK takes out Chinese Taipei, which is not a given, but is absolutely possible, they would have the rematch against Korea. Oh, man, I love how you said it there in the event as well. This is the cleanest form of an all-kill. It's not that he won 2 games and then the rest played. It's like, no, it's like a hat-trick, the most pure. 3 goals, 1 health, all in a row, as clean as possible, and he did it in stunning fashion.
That was amazing.
So it's over for today. We hope you really enjoyed. It was a hell of a day. And tomorrow, 7 p.m., lower bracket of this group. Bye.
See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
Good night.